their sports teams for sure. Yeah, I never doubt it. I mean, Edmonton always showed out when it comes to sports. It's amazing to see. Even when we had the game in November in 22. I do.
Look, he looks sharp, right?
It looks really
sharp.
good.
The coaches don't get that. Yeah. Not
Only until June 14th. In restaurant at participating Wendy's locations. Taxes extra.
Sports 1440. Stingray radio station. The KJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Have your sports curiosity cured.
It has happened in Vegas. The Caps going to stay in Vegas. For the first time, the Golden Knights are Stanley Cup champions.
A veteran of the sports reporting game for over 25 years.
The first two games they played in the playoffs back in mid-April, they lost. Then they won the next four and the 2 rounds after. They have been absolutely relentless. With the net empty, Bonner shrugs it away. The Carolina Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup.
Breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams.
It's up by Oliver Shea once again. Osorio drives it in. Jonathan Osorio with the goal to give Canada the lead in Edmonton. In the same stadium where he made his Canada debut.
This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, here we go for Saul 678, Tuesday, June the 2nd. Feels more like January 2nd. We felt it kind of like the same way yesterday, that it was January, not June, but man, oh man, +9 right now. It's not getting a whole heck of a lot warmer. Build an ark because it's been raining for about 3 days straight. But I think we're going to see that come to an end tonight. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440 on your AM radio dial on your morning drive into work. So glad you could spend some time with us this morning on a Tuesday morning where she's a little chilly outside for sure. It was chilly last night at that soccer game. Man, oh man, but what a performance by Canada over Uzbekistan, winning 2-0. We'll talk about that for, the first little bit and over the course of the morning. You can watch us on YouTube as well on Sports 1440 AM. Drop us a like, a subscription. We're also on X, Facebook, Instagram, and the mighty Twitch. And always, we're streaming on the many services that are out there on iHeartRadio, the TuneIn app, even on sports1440.ca. And if you miss any part of any show, well, all you got to do is search it where all the podcasts hang out on Apple, Spotify, Google, even Amazon. Please subscribe. It's free. Select the auto download. You'll never miss a second of any show. Yeah, so glad you're with us here on a Tuesday morning as the Stanley Cup final. The puck drops on game number 1 tonight in Carolina with the Hurricanes home to the Vegas Golden Knights. Wonder what the buzz is like in Carolina. Well, we'll find out a little bit later in the show. Frank Saravalli, our regular Tuesday and Thursday contributor, is in Raleigh, so we will get the buzz in Carolina from him. Our text, 833-401-1440, our text line. Send us a text. Who do you think is going to win this series and why? I think it's really a coin toss, to be honest with you. It's kind of like a 50-50. Or if you think about it, Carolina's lost 1 game in the playoffs. So you would think that they would be the favorite. But I think a lot of people are going Vegas's way because of how they dismantled the President's Trophy winners, the Colorado Avalanche, in a series sweep. But when you look at both sides, there's a lot of pluses for both sides and not a lot of minuses for both sides. It's going to be interesting. We've talked about the style of play in this one, of how it's going to be portrayed. You got a team that goes really heavy duty, man-to-man in Carolina against the zone team that plays defensively more zone. in Vegas. So how will that play out? That's something we'll be discussing. 833-401-1440. Give us our text. Give us a shout. Who do you think wins this series and why? So last night, 45,000 plus at Commonwealth Stadium to see Canada play Uzbekistan. Alphonso Davies, the local product, the hometown hero, made it to the game in time, got in late Sunday night from Germany. So he was there on the sidelines. He was there on the pitch to start the game off for some pictures and things like that. But it was good to see Alphonso Davies back in town. We'll hear from Davies, I think, coming up at 7:40. But the game itself, sort of a slower moving game, and maybe that had a lot to do with the temperature because it was cold. You think about the last time that Canada was playing here in Edmonton was, 4 or 5 years ago in November. I guess it's 5 years. Yeah, November of 2021. And that was the Azteca game, that -9 with the snowbanks on the sidelines. And there was about 44,000 fans that night. And tonight or last night's attendance was about 46,000. So good on the people that went out and supported it in really just, it rained all game long. Jonathan Osorio scored for Canada in the 58th minute after a scoreless first half. And then Jaden Nelson picked up that insurance marker, really nifty goal about a minute into stoppage time. So 2-0 over Uzbekistan. It's the second last friendly, if you want to call it, before the World Cup tournament. There were some bright spots for sure in the lineup. Canada had, a good advantage of possession time through the first 15 or so minutes, but not a lot of penetration, not a lot of, getting into the Uzbekistan box and things like that. To be honest with you, in the first half, Uzbekistan probably had the better scoring chances. And Shomadurov had 3 really good chances. One was likely offside, I would thought. And he had a chip over the Canadian goaltender, Maxime Crepeau, who was really good in the first half because Canada subbed out a lot of guys in the second half. But Crepeau played really, really well. He had saves on Shomadurov in about the 26th minute and then again in the 43rd minute. So Canada with a pretty solid performance. Now off to Montreal to play the final pre-tournament game against Ireland. And that's on Friday. And then the World Cup begins June the 12th. And Canada is in the group with Switzerland, Qatar, and Bosnia-Herzegovina. And that's the first game, Bosnia-Herzegovina. So all in all, a pretty nifty night. Bombito subbed out in the 30th minute. They say it was planned. Our regular contributor, Matthew Shinetti, said during the broadcast last night that this was planned, although then he left the game and he had, a good ice pack on his shin area. And keep in mind that he had a fracture in that area. That would be back in October. So I would assume it's a precautionary thing. He's a very valuable guy to this team moving forward. So there's opportunities for others, I guess, that would maybe see some playing time on Friday. But all in all, pretty decent. A pretty decent night at Commonwealth Stadium. Just to zip back for some NHL news, no shock here. Totally expected. Manny Malhotra is going to be the new head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. Won a Calder Cup in Abbotsford last year, 2 years ago. So he was the number one, the number one candidate by far, and that's the guy that they think that can, bridge this to where they get the rebuild going and get back to respectability after a poor season this year. And just think, it wasn't that long ago when the Oilers and Canucks were playing in the playoffs and went 7 games. I mean, holy smokes, it feels like it's 100 years ago, but it is not. 7:09 in Edmonton. Hey, let's welcome in the Duke of Delburne after a day off where he was down in Red Deer at the Mighty 4-H show. Duke, how was it in Red Deer?
Soggy, wet, similar to here, of course, inside the show barn. So kept relatively dry, and it's almost nice on so many of my recounts of growing up at the 4-H show at the Westerner Park. It's like 25 degrees outside, and the barn is already so hot with a few hundred head of cattle. So when the weather takes a little bit of a colder turn like this, you still got the like bay doors halfway open so you can see the rain coming down, but some cold air flowing in. It helps keep everybody in a little bit of a better mood. Yeah, great weekend. Sunday, saw the club shows yesterday, the female show in the morning, and then the inter-club big shebang. I left before the sale got going last night because they had a big supper and then award ceremony, and the sale wasn't starting until 7. So I had dipped prior to that, but I hope the sale went well for all the young members, and they got some good prices for their hard work.
So that show barn, can it get a little gassy in there, Duke?
No, you don't like it's a lot like when you're used to it, kind of like just the smell.
Yeah.
And I don't know if gassy, it's just like it just smells like a show barn. Just like when you drive into a pig farm or a dairy farm, each of them have a chicken farm, each kind of have their own distinct odor that is somewhat separate from just a general farm
Like
smell.
being back at Rexall in the old Canadian Finals rodeo days, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very similar. The rodeo type lingering smell is pretty similar to what the show barn smell is. So like I said, I've grown up around it, even if I'm not quite as there as frequently anymore. It's almost like a comforting smell because it takes you back to your youth a little bit. So yeah, it's a great weekend. I'm always happy to go, offer some of my time out. I was a member at that show for 9 years with the Delburne Club. Loved it. Big part of my youth, my childhood. So yeah, it's cool to see another whole generation of kids. My sister's kids, it won't be long till a few of them are out there, as 9-year-old kids weighing 60 pounds soaking wet, dragging around a 1,500-pound market steer. So it's always fun.
Bird text in 833-401-1440. Walk into a hockey dressing room, pal. Yeah, it can get some pretty raunchy in some of the
and that's a totally other different type of smell, like the sweat smell as opposed to the animal element, which you get for a lot of the things that I was kind of running down. So yeah, it's just to each their own. I don't mind the smell of a hockey dressing room because it's once again something I'm familiar with and take a little bit of comfort in. It's familiar.
Well, how's this sound, Duke? Come to Thursday hockey when Dan Baker's playing, and you can sit beside old Pigpen Dan Baker, the raunchiest, smelliest guy in the history of hockey. No one, he's got probably 10 feet of space on either side of him. No one wants to.
Well, that maybe is good planning by him. No, you don't got to be crowded when you got that working for you in the room.
Awful. Did you watch any of that soccer last night?
Yeah, I got home in time to catch it. I was kind of watching it a little bit side-eye for different parts of the game, just as I'd been gone for a couple of days, so getting a few things re-put back together for the week here at home. But yeah, it was good. It really impressive to see the turnout. I had originally been really hoping to go to this game, then seeing how it was going to line up with my return from Red Deer, I was like, it's going to be pretty tight time-wise to get back, so I don't want to get a ticket and then not be able to go, and had a few offered to me, same thing. And then when you had the forecast come in and you see what the rain was going to be, you say, you know what? Tons of credit to all those that are going to brave it. I don't know if I'll be much of a mood to get home from a weekend away and doing this, and then you go sit in the pouring rain for a few hours. So I was comfortable from the TV. Glad it was a great turnout. Impressive effort from the Canadians, no doubt. I was, as you kind of touched on, really impressed with Maxime Crepeau.
Yes.
And part of the reason is that's one of the most intense battles here on this roster ahead of the World Cup actually getting going is who is going to be Canada's goalkeeper. And I thought he performed very well with a couple big saves in crunch time when, we're still scoreless.
Yeah.
I very, very impressed. And we'll see if he gets another look here in their final tune-up at his home city of Montreal.
No, for sure. And I would imagine maybe they do another split. I'm not sure.
Wouldn't shock me.
As far as Jesse Marsh and his strategy moving forward. But yeah, Crepeau looked really good. That one save that he had to jump up and just tip it over.
Yeah, kind of like the redirect almost type play.
And then that other, he made another one that was, he had to slide and dive to his left. And you got to give these players credit on both sides with the conditions at Commonwealth. And to be honest with you, I mean, it was hard to tell on TV how hard it was raining and stuff like that. But for the most part, like the field, I think it looked okay from, watching on television. But I mean, who knows with the footing and everything, like you could see guys sliding around. Even there was that dude, I can't remember the guy's name, maybe Shamirodov too, that had a partial break and tried to just sort of chip it and he just totally mishit the ball. And you wonder how the conditions, had a massive play. And I think some of the players talked about it after for sure. Text 833-401-1440. Jane Victoria says, I have no idea who's going to win the Stanley Cup. It's going to be a low-scoring series for sure, but if Hart wins, If Hall wins, that's even better. So, I mean, obviously there's some local ties to the series for sure here. The King of Fort Nasty says, good morning, KK, Duke, and Fenny. She's pretty soggy out there, about as soggy as the Duke's golf ball when playing at the Goose. Unfortunately, King, that is not coming into play with Duke's ailing knee, unless it's getting better here, Duke. That I'm not.
It is improving, right? Just as some of the fluid drains out from the injury and the swelling goes down a little bit. I will say, like, over the course of the weekend, you see a few people back around home that you don't see very frequently or often, and a lot of them are listeners to the show, so they're aware that I've banged myself up a little bit here. And my good buddy Terry Vincent, he sees me, he's like, how are you feeling? I said, it's coming along. He looks down, he's like, well, it still looks pretty swollen, like through my jeans, right? You can still see that it's still a little on the swollen side. Walking around's getting better, but it's largely under like load bearing, like stairs, carrying something, whatever. Then you still feel it pull pretty good, unstable, pretty weak, but it is coming along. It is.
Oh, man. Duke. Coming up on the big program, we're going to head out to Carolina right off the hop. Speak with Corey Lavalette from The Athletic, covers the Carolina Hurricanes, and we'll get his thoughts on this team heading in to game number 1 of the Stanley Cup final tonight against the Vegas Golden Knights. Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Toughen it out out at Alberta Beach the last couple of days. I would imagine him and Shelka just been playing crib and doing some stuff indoors because she's been a little nippy out at the lake. I couldn't imagine, doing stuff outside. He's inside. He's watching movies and playing crib. Jared Bell from USA Today covers the NFL. This will be a great conversation after what happened yesterday with 2 massive trades in the NFL. Happened right after we left the airwaves here with the first one in Myles Garrett going to the Rams, and then A.J. Brown followed up about an hour later off to the New England Patriots from the Philadelphia Eagles. So 2 big, massive trades to talk about. Jared Bell from the USA Today. We'll have another edition of Cam and Eggs. We got Landon Ferraro, the former NHLer and our pre- and post-game show analyst here on Sports 1440 during the Oilers season. That's coming up at 10. And then the con man, Connor Halley from Fantasy Frenzy, and the Jason Gregor Show, our regular Tuesday morning contributor as well. When we come back, Corey Lavalette from The Athletic covers the Hurricanes. It'll be game number 1 tonight, and we will bust it down with Corey on the Kevin Carey Show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Home ice advantage is real at the rink and on your windows. Novo Blinds is Edmonton's own custom manufacturer, trusted by customers around the city. Factory direct pricing with the fastest turnaround around. Book a free in-home consultation at novoblinds.ca.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a fully warranted center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB. And we service all makes and models. Proper regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at 780-979-0470. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. MortgagesToGo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, good to go.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. This deal is only good till 6 o'clock tonight. We need your credit card to hold the color. Hold the color. Summer package. Winter package. And the ever-famous re-PDI fee. I gotta pay you to rebuild the car? Does this sound familiar? At Northgate, we do things differently. We offer 0% financing, a great selection of new, pre-owned vehicles. So if you'd like to do business a different way, stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
From the first pitch to the final out. Catch Toronto Blue Jays baseball games live right here. Don't miss a moment of Blue Jays baseball this season.
Sports 1440 is proud to be the home of Blue Jays baseball.
Hey, it's Jamie from Green Drop Lawn Care, exploring Edmonton from the Science Center to Horlock Park. I see your lawns and cringe a little. Weeds are here. And you've got them, Edmonton. Take your lawn back with our guaranteed lawn care programs and unlimited weed control.
Green Drop has been Canada's lawn expert since 1979. And they're in your community, keeping your yard looking beautiful with affordable lawn care packages that include fertilizer, weed control, drought fighter, and more. Visit greendrop.com.
Just in time for the morning skate. This is the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 7:20 in Edmonton, and time now for the game of the day, brought to you by St. Albert Dodge, where you can pick up a 2026 Jeep Compass 4x4 for $36,900. It's got the 8.4-inch touch screen, the active lane management, Apple CarPlay, remote, keyless illuminated entry, the rear backup camera, the alarm, and much, much more. We've got 21 of them left in stock at stalbertdodge.com. As we welcome in Corey Lavalette from The Athletic, covers the Carolina Hurricanes. Good morning, Corey. You're with Kevin Karius. Thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 on a game day in Raleigh. Really appreciate it.
Sure thing, man. Good morning. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, doing well up here. Missing a little lengthier playoff run like we had in the last couple of years, as you know, but just maybe give us a scene setter. What's the atmosphere and the buzz like in Carolina getting ready for game number 1 tonight, Corey?
Yeah, I mean, I think off the ice with the fans, people are really excited. Obviously, this is, 8 years in the making since Rod Brind'Amour took over as coach, but it's really 20 years in the making since they won the Stanley Cup with him as captain. So I think the community is obviously really, really excited. On the ice with the guys in the room, I think there's a sense of calm that I thought, maybe there'd be a little more nervous energy. Maybe we'll see that a little this morning when I'm headed to the rink right now. But there's a sense of there's business to be done here. Everyone made such a big deal about the hurdle for them was getting to the Stanley Cup final. And I genuinely get the feeling that's not how they feel.
Mm-hmm. When you mention Rod Brind'Amour, I can't think of another person that's involved with a franchise that's gone from player to captain to coach, for his, 26 years in Carolina. There's nothing like this. What's he mean to this franchise, do you think, Corey?
Yeah, I mean, he is the franchise in a sense, right? The thing I always compare it to is, the triangle. North Carolina is known for college sports, college basketball in particular. And who are the faces of college sports? It's not the players. Yes, players come and go. The Michael Jordans come, the Christian Laettners come, but really the guys that get talked about, the people that get talked about, are the coaches. Mike Krzyzewski and Roy Williams and Dean Smith and just on and on. Jim Valvano, obviously. And to me, it's almost like that. There's not another team in professional sports I can think of that, instead of it being about the star player, about the players, it's a little bit more about the coach. And it's a really interesting dynamic, and it fits this community, this fan base, which is a meld of all those teams. Those people don't find a whole lot to cheer about together. Usually they're at odds, and the Hurricanes kind of brings them all together. So, he means a lot. Anytime over the past few years when a vacancy opened up in a bigger market and people said, oh, Rod Brind'Amour is going to, Tom Dundon's not going to pay him and Rod Brind'Amour's going to go to New York or whatever city you want to say that he was tied to. This is where he lives. This is his home. He married a woman whose father was a basketball coach at NC State, an assistant coach, and then coached at a couple teams in North Carolina as a head coach. he's part of North Carolina now. You know, it's a lot like me. I moved here, you know, in 2000, and North Carolina is my home, and I know why he loves it because I love it here. Yeah, it's a really, really interesting dynamic and something that I think you don't see really anywhere else in pro sports.
Corey Lavalette from The Athletic, our guest on the Kevin Karius show here on Sports 1440. So with him being there so long and that dynamic that you mentioned with him and the franchise and, sports in the area, I mean, where do you put Jordan Staal in this mix? Because, it's almost like we're looking at the same thing, like 20 years difference of what Staal has done and how long he's been there and everything else what he means to this franchise as well.
I mean, you can draw a line from that family, right? I mean, they don't win the 2006 Stanley Cup without Eric Staal, that's for sure. That he was the most dynamic offensive player this franchise has ever seen. And he was just a kid. He had played his rookie season in what was it? I guess 2 years before the lockout. And then because of the lockout and because of the way rules were structured and because he could be assigned to the AHL, he played his second professional year in the AHL, came back bigger and stronger and helped the team win a Stanley Cup. And then, his brother Jordan came here to join him to play together. A trade at Jordan Staal's wedding, that brought him to Carolina. And, there were a lot of tough years here. They went through a few coaches that didn't work out and ownership at that time that, wasn't committed to spending to the cap. And, Tom Dundon, to his credit, and I know he gets a lot of grief. I know he's getting a lot of heat right now in NBA circles. Rod has said it several times. Tom, first of all, Tom gave him a chance that no one else gave him. And then secondly, Tom said, what do we need to win? And Rod said, we need an even playing field. We need to pay our players. And, Tom has provided the two biggest things this franchise needed. He gave Rod Brindamore the chance, and then he said, here's the money, go get who you need. And then, pretty savvy front office moves too, with hiring Don Waddell and then now transitioning to Eric Tulsky, who, had a big part in the success this team has had under Dundon and under Brindamore.
Yeah, no question. I mean, Carolina was here. I don't think it was this year. I think it was last year. And Eric Tulsky just walked through all the media and he just walked through like he wasn't even supposed to be part in the room. You know what I mean? And guys were looking at him going like, is that Tulsky? Is that him? That, and everyone's kind of going up in the press box going, yeah, that's him. Because it's just what he's done there, as you mentioned, it's phenomenal how he's kind of held this all together.
Yeah, he's a really good guy too. I think he has he's not, I asked Kelly McCrimmon this yesterday. I said, you're a hockey lifer. Eric Tulsky is not. What have you thought about his, kind of rise as a GM? And, he mentioned Don Waddell and that Eric had the chance to kind of learn a bit under Don, who's one of those lifers. But Eric's really, really smart. I mean, obviously everybody knows that, but he goes beyond spreadsheets and things like that. Everyone thinks this is a guy just pushing numbers around like the scene in Moneyball, right? It's not like that. He's a guy who scouts players during games. I think a big part of the analytics that a lot of people don't talk about is the way they use it to value players and to keep their salary cap in order. And you look at their team right now, no matter what happens in this Stanley Cup final, the Hurricanes have basically two free agents this offseason and a ton of cap space. They've got to pay Alexander Nikishin, who's an RFA. And then, we'll see what happens with Frederick Anderson, but they already have two goalies signed with Kochetkov and Brandon Bussey. But obviously if Freddie leads them to a Stanley Cup and wants to play another season, you probably hand over the money and say, come on back, Freddie.
Yeah.
But it's that's a big part of what they've done is they've just managed their cap and their assets so well that they're able to go and do things like try to trade for Jake Gensel. And even though it doesn't work, give up some assets and take a swing, make the Mikko Rantanen trade and pivot to, Logan Stankoven, who's been, unreal, and then use one of those draft picks to get Keandre Miller, another guy who's been unreal. The pro scouting staff has done a really good job on top of the, everyone thinks it's all about analytics, but the pro scouting staff has done a really, really brilliant job there.
You mentioned Freddie Anderson. How emotional was that? I mean, even after, with Claude Lemieux and you saw, the tears and things like that, but that had to have, been a big, big thing that happened in that locker room and even with the team after that last win.
The for me, and I mean everyone is stunned. Obviously, the stunning thing to me was the day before that all happened. I had pulled Freddie aside and just talked to him, not even with my recorder on, just us talking. And I asked him, hey, did Claude reach out to you about carrying the torch? And I mean, I don't know how well you know Frederick Anderson. Everyone's seen his, videos of him speaking. He's a pretty stoic guy. And this was obviously before the tragedy happened, but Freddie lit up in a way I don't think I've ever seen him lit up before. He smiled so big. He said, I told him that this is such an immense honor from a historic franchise. You have to do it. Even though he was carrying the torch out to hype up the fans, of the team he was playing against, Freddie was so excited for a guy he's known since he was a kid. He was a kid coming from Denmark, of all places. Not exactly a hockey hotbed in the NHL. My heart really broke for him when I heard what had happened. And, the whole hockey world obviously is mourning a player that was divisive on the ice, but by all accounts was a great man off it, especially to these young players he took under his wing. And, when I heard that, and I remembered, I just talked to Freddie the day before about him, and it's still, it's hard for me, and I didn't know Claude, but I know Freddie, and it's hard to think about what he's going through. But if there's anybody that can compartmentalize and use this, it's Freddie Anderson. And we saw what he did in Game 5. He was spectacular, and your heart breaks for him, and and for Claude's family. Brendan Lemieux was obviously here for a little bit, but what a performance in that Game 5, and this goes one of two ways as far as on the ice, and that stuff is secondary, obviously, but it's either it crumbles you or it gives you purpose, and you can't help but feel like this has given Frederick Anderson, who has all the reasons in the world to want to have end this myth about him that he can't perform in big moments. It gives him even more fuel to, maybe do an amazing thing and honor somebody who is very, very important to him.
Well said. Corey Lavalette from The Athletic covers the Carolina Hurricanes. As you can imagine, there's quite a few people in Edmonton pulling for Taylor Hall to win a Stanley Cup. It seems like it was only a few years ago, or it feels like yesterday when he was drafted first overall in 2010. But man, it's been a hell of a road for Taylor Hall. So he's got a lot of people in his corner here in Edmonton. What's it been like to see his, evolution as a player once he got to Carolina? Because it's almost like this has been a perfect fit for him.
I mean, it really has been. And when they made that deal, obviously all the talk was about Mikko Rantanen coming in and getting that superstar player that maybe the franchise has lacked. And people in the organization told me, don't sleep on Taylor Hall. We think there's a lot more there. And man, were they right. Now that we have this NHL Edge statistics we can look at, we can see speed bursts and see things like acceleration. If you go and look at players like him, players like Andrei Svechnikov, who went through knee surgeries, knee injuries, it took them a couple years to get that burst back. And if you go and look at the numbers for both those guys and the way they're, the explosiveness they both have now, you can't help but feel like a lot of what was going on was, a situation where maybe the full strength wasn't back yet in their knees. But on top of that, you mentioned, Taylor Hall's time in Edmonton and, first overall pick, Hart Trophy winner, all those things. And right now, one of the consummate front runners, to be honest with you. He came in and he started this year on the fourth line, and he has, obviously found a home on that second line when they tried something different and put Nick Ehlers with Jordan Martinook and Jordan Stahl. And man, did that line click, and does he fit well with those two kids that are, just dogged players who everyone underestimates, and everyone says, oh, you just hit them and they'll go away. And they don't go away. And Taylor Hall is just a great example for them about, I think you can't imagine Taylor Hall, when he was drafted first overall, thought this would be the trajectory of his career, bouncing around to so many cities, ending up in Buffalo for part of a season and going to Boston and having that amazing season and having it all fall apart in the playoffs. And the trade to Chicago, I know for him was crushing, when he was a big part of what Boston had accomplished in a secondary role. But you can tell he's a guy, and there are parallels to 2006, even though these guys came in at the deadline. But Doug Waite coming to Raleigh in 2006, I know you're very familiar with him. A guy who comes in and all he wants to do is win. This is my chance to win. And Taylor Hall is loving every minute of it. He's a really, really thoughtful guy. One of the best talkers I've encountered. And just, it's been a really interesting dynamic with those three guys on that line. And it's been the best line in the playoffs. And all we heard for the 4 months before the postseason was how Carolina didn't have a second line and a second line center. And man, have they proven everyone wrong? And Taylor Hall's a big part of that.
Was that yesterday, Corey? And I think the comment was when he got to Carolina and under the system of Rod Brindamore, what he deploys, Taylor Hall said, "I wasn't in good enough shape to play it." Was that yesterday?
I didn't hear I didn't hear him at the pod yesterday.
Yeah, I think it might have been yesterday or the day before. He's just talking about he wasn't in good enough shape when he got to Carolina. He had to get in better shape. He had to get in coach shape, as he called it.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is just being able to play without thinking. It's a different. We're going to see contrasts all the time in the NHL, and there's teams that play zone, and there's teams that play more of a zone style defense, and there's man to man, and obviously Carolina's a hard match man to man team. And then there's the aggressiveness they want to play with all over the ice. And I think the thing he's spoken to is that he just really needed to get to a point where it was second nature to do the things they wanted him to do. And once that happens, the talent takes over, and there's no denying the talent that he has. I mean, he was a first overall pick for a reason. So I think that's the big thing. But yeah, I mean, Rod Brindamore expects a lot of his players to be in shape. Nobody's in better shape than the captain maybe at his age, being able to do what he does. Jordan Staal is an absolute horse. I got a kick out of the push for Nick Suzuki to be a Selke finalist this year, and obviously he is. And going into that series against Montreal, I felt like Jordan was going to remember that people didn't pick him to be a Selke finalist, or at least not everyone did. I know I did. But I think that trickles down to everyone, just the work ethic that they have in the locker room, the work ethic that they have on every shift. It's, people have often said, they get worn down. Well, if you win 13 of your first 12 games, you get to the Stanley Cup final, you're not so worn down anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Corey, thanks so much for your time this morning. Enjoy game number 1 and the rest of the Stanley Cup final. We'll see if it's 20 years apart from Stanley Cup wins for Carolina. Really appreciate you coming on. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Kevin. Take care, man.
That's Corey Lavalette, covers the Carolina Hurricanes for The Athletic, and the game of the day brought to you by St. Albert Dodge, and they've got 21 Jeep Compass 4x4s under $37,000 left in stock. Check them out at stalbertdodge.com. Text 833-401-1440. I never heard about this. Andrew texted, and so did Harry, regarding the soccer game last night and the massive failure by Edmonton Transit. And I tried to look a little bit of this during the commercial, and we're going to take a deeper dive. Andrew says, hey, did anyone talk about the soccer game last night, how the city had no buses, and so a bus and go for the game from the south side. Everyone had to jam the LRT after the game. People were shoving, getting squished. Probably one of the worst experiences in my life. I'll be shocked if there were no injuries. So that's the one texter that we have on that. Did you hear about anything like this, Duke? Fanny? I don't know.
No. And granted, I was not really on socials after the game. Full disclosure, I was struggling to keep my eyes open watching the back half of this game, even though the time was not that late overall. But no, I didn't see anything of this nature, so I wasn't on my phone or anything after the game.
I don't know, like some people get so claustrophobic.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, like, so you've been sitting in the rain for 3 hours and now you're jammed into an LRT car, probably way too many in each car because you don't want to sit around on the platform.
Right.
And the amount of people, and again, you're getting pushed and you feel like a little claustrophobic, and I'm sure the air in there is not the best. And, so if you got a text, if you were on one of those LRT cars last night, give us a shout, 833-401-1440. We'd love to hear about your experience, if you want to call it that. When we come back, we're going to hear from Alfonso Davies from last night. Obviously didn't play. You'll see exactly where he is with 10 days to go when Canada opens up the World Cup with Bosnia-Herzegovina. It's the Kevin Karius Show. The Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440. AM Radio, we're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
When thirst strikes and your energy begins to fade, one hero rises above the rest. Introducing the Superpower Smoothie from Booster Juice. A bright sun-charged burst of mangoes, bananas, and blue spirulina. An out-of-this-world smoothie, just in time for the new Supergirl movie. Discover your power and channel your inner superhero. Fly into your local Booster Juice and experience it for yourself today. And see Supergirl. Only in theaters June 26th.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey, Culligan. I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test from a local Culligan water expert at culligan.ca.
Are new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more? Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Whether you're refinancing or buying your first home, mortgages are easier with help from a neighbor. At Vision Credit Union, you get face-to-face guidance from local lenders who know the market because, well, they live here too. They'll look at your whole financial picture with practical advice for payments, renewals, refinancing, and what makes sense long-term. Get a more neighborly mortgage. Contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca.
Here's what you need to know about Lux Windows. We work hard. We come in early, we stay late, we go above and beyond, and then we go a little further. Not for awards or a pat on the back. We work hard so that choosing our windows and doors is an easy decision for you. It's the Alberta way. It's the Lux way. Everything we are is windows and doors. A company born and bred and made in Alberta.
Sports 1440. All sports, all day.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Thanks for listening to Edmonton's sports leader.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 744 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you here on Sports 1440 AM radio. Text 833-401-1440. Titan says, oof da, no buses south from the game. Wow, great job, City. King of Fort Nasty says, I heard Eddie Steele jumped into one of those LRT cars with a pocket full of hard-boiled eggs. Wasn't he like... Eddie wouldn't probably get it, but remember the old line, Duke? Like guys would say, you know, if you were a hockey player and you didn't like physical play, and they used to say that guy could go in the corner with a carton full of eggs in his pants and none of them would break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard different iterations.
That's
of that,
Eddie
but
right there.
I did catch a part when I was driving into the show yesterday morning. I caught part of the program, and what you guys were giving Eddie the gears something about what was it? Because you're talking about microwaving fish again.
What was it, Josh? It was the microwave at it wasn't a gas station or something, wasn't it?
No, we were talking about going to the movie theater.
Right. Okay. The movie,
And-
the movie theater thing, and it was just like Eddie just doesn't like it because he can't take his tune in there to reheat. I had a very good laugh at that. Very good.
Oh, poor Eddie was just getting the business again. If you had a bad experience on the LRT last night, give us a text at 833-401-1440. We'd love to hear how it was, what it wasn't, how long you had to wait maybe, and how jammed it was on some of the cars heading south from Commonwealth Stadium, where Canada beat Uzbekistan 2-0 thanks to goals in the 58th minute by Jonathan Osorio, and then Jaden Nelson in insurance marker in stoppage time. A lot, and the commentators were really talking about Jaden Nelson, and is that a goal like that and how he played last night, does that help him solidify a spot on this team? Like he's a starter or anything, but maybe he can add some depth to the team. And man, he was fired up for sure. There was also, I think it was Promise David had that goal. He scored. It was offside. And he was like, there's a remarkable story too. So that goal was nullified, but everyone thought that he had made it 2-0. Nelson did make it 2-0. Over 46,000 fans at Commonwealth Stadium last night. It was great to see. Alphonso Davies, the local product, arrived in Edmonton from Bayern Munich about a day earlier. So he was here on Sunday night later, I believe, to watch his team. We saw him on the field. And then obviously following the game, he had a little bit of a media availability. And first of all, he talked about his injury status moving forward here for the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, it feels nice to, get back on the pitch and do some running. I'm happy to be home, and I'm happy to be with the boys and, support them, whether it's on or off the pitch. I'm happy to do it. Given the timetable, I mean, obviously me and Jesse spoke about this. Yeah, we just have to see how everything goes over the next couple of days. I just continue my rehab, my progression, and see how I'm feeling, day by day, step by step. Yeah, I mean, obviously, all depending on whether if I'm fit enough to make that. I mean, time will tell, and I can't really say right now. I mean, obviously, I can say yes or no, but all depending on how the rehab goes.
That was Alphonso Davies following the game last night. So, the big question is, would he be ready at what point? We got 10 days to go here. He's had the rehab, and again, the knee injury, then coupled with, and maybe you're overcompensating, and he's had some tough injury status here in the last several months. So, I mean, there's a situation where is he better than some guys at 80%, 75, whatever it is? At what point do you put him in and risk him not being at the level that he needs to be? And I think Jesse March talked about that last week. They want guys that are at 100%. Can Alphonso Davies get to 100%? Not sure. So again, just listening to him there and talking about what needs to happen as far as rehabbing and getting things going for the next 10 plus days, they'll have more of an indication here moving forward. We touched on the fans. I mean, you can't say enough about the fans last night at at Commonwealth Stadium. Over 46,000 that were there in the rain for 3 straight hours and then some. They had great atmosphere 5 years ago, and I was at that game, as a lot of Edmontonians were, the Ice Teca, and that was a chilly night. But Canada, and when you watch the players jump into the snowbanks and things like that, it brought back memories for Alphonso Davies, and he would have liked to be on the pitch playing, but he just commented about the atmosphere last night as well.
Yeah, I never doubt it. I mean, Edmonton always showed out when it comes to sports. It's amazing to see, even when we had the game in November in 22 or 21, being minus 12, they showed out. So I thought today, I knew it was going to be the same outcome because it's a city that supports their sports teams for sure.
That is Alphonso Davies, yeah. And I mean, this is a guy that, he went through the Sports Central program. I mean, him and his family. I mean, without Sports Central and all the people that donate to that, and he doesn't get to where he probably is without Tim Adams and all those guys with the soccer footy and all that stuff. I mean, like, you think about how his progression was from a young boy and when he got to Edmonton and to where he is now, unbelievable. I mean, it's a story that is just off the charts. I mean, that's a movie. That's a movie down the road there for sure. Text 833-401-1440. Guy says, so proud to be an Edmontonian last night. The game was incredible. We put on an amazing game, but saddened by the behavior. ETS needs to not only use transit peace offers to ensure safety on the platforms, but bring in staff to manage people getting on the train. A family of 3 people with a 12-year-old should not be worried about getting trampled trying to catch a train. We should study what other major cities do, like Tokyo and London. Brooke says, I took the park and ride after the game to Churchill with no issues. So I think we're saying south. That's where there were problems going south, and maybe where you went, Brooke, not sure. With the Elks, they canceled the buses from the south side because they want us to take the LRT. Terrible experience, tone deaf by our council and mayor. So they want you to take the LRT, but when you're jamming way too many people in the cars, not good. We'll have to get a name on this one here. OMG. Yes, worst experience ever traveling the LRT line last night from Southgate. My wife and I, with our 2 young kids, spent an hour on the train going there between the already full train cars and the delays from it being backed up. They are letting far too many people on at a time of these large events. An hour and a half going back home on the train when it decided to die at the U of A, and they let us sit there for 15 minutes and finally decided to tell people to get off and wait for the next train. I've never been so furious and frustrated in my life. Tim says, incredible atmosphere and fans. Awful ETS system. IMAC chimes in. I actually watched the soccer, was definitely impressed with how the team played. Like the Oilers, there were a few lucky breakaways from losing. Ball possession must have been a joke for the stands. That said, the stuff that makes us hate was on full display. The dives, dirty plays by the stands, frankly embarrassed guys like me that play sports hard and tough. Nails goes, it's hard to understand 46,000 last night and 4,600 the Friday before at the Double E game. I'll tell you what, Nails, there weren't 4,600 at the Double E game on Friday, more like about 3. And yes, and you think about it, it rained 10 times harder for the soccer game and was 10 degrees colder, probably, for the soccer game. Tim comes back again and says, great job by the folks at Commonwealth and Soccer Canada. I don't understand that crowd on Friday. We talked about it yesterday, Duke. And you were with your nephew at Remax.
Indeed, I was.
And there would have been twice as many fans at that game than there was for the preseason game between the Elks and the Calgary Stampeders. There were only 3,000 fans.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit on the Triple S, Josh McKenzie and I heard you guys talk about it yesterday during In or Out about like, all right, like I thought we were kind of working towards the solution with the Elks and the attendance numbers and things like that. And it's so funny that we draw these two comparisons of kind of the second fiddle options in the city. And when we're talking summertime, the options that exist for sports fans to get out and take stuff in and say, all right, well, we know the price is pretty close to the same. Neither are very good to get in and out of from a parking perspective. There's always long lines and hard pressed to find spots, etc. One is pro, one is amateur. And as a result, the amateur team, they kind of take a more, and it's kind of weird how this inverses. It's a pro amateur approach because the way the organization is run is as professional as it gets, but it is for like call it a minor league type thing with promotions and yada yada. And then the Elks they're trying. I give them credit. This was a good promotion, and it was kind of forced upon them because of the soccer game and everything. I'm kind of running out of answers, Kev, about why the CFL cannot get any traction here.
I wanted to see some little thing, like a small, minute detail. Again, this is the Knot Hole night. I wanted to see like an old barn fence, Duke, where a little kid or a person could put their head through there and take a picture, because that's what this was all about. Just little tiny things, details like that. Hey, when we come back, top of the hour, we got Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet and Frank Saravalli from Victory Plus TV. Before that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fusion Promo Marketing. Expand your brand, high-quality promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Get those at fusionpromomarketing.ca. That's Fusion with a Z. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Canadian men's national soccer team last night at Commonwealth amid the rain and the cold. They blank Uzbekistan 2-0. Jonathan Osorio scoring for Canada at the 58-minute mark proves the winner. Maxime Crepeau excellent in his first half of action. Canada will wrap up their friendly schedule against Ireland in Montreal on Friday. They open the World Cup June 12th against Bosnia and Herzegovina. From the NHL offseason last night, Vancouver Canucks making it official as they hire Manny Malhotra as the 23rd head coach in history. This comes as a promotion from Malhotra, who had been with the minor league Abbotsford Canucks for each of the past 2 seasons, winning last year's Calder Cup. In the majors yesterday, a bit of a lighter schedule. Detroit gets past Tampa Bay 10-9. Miami tops Washington 7-3. Royals beat the Reds 9-2. Brewers beat up on the Giants 16-2. And in one of the nightcap games, Seattle, they get past the Mets 3-2. Finally, from Roland Garros at the French Open, men's singles quarterfinals continuing today. Currently, Alex Zverev on the court up against Rafael Jodar, and still to come, Jakub Mensik will take on Joa Fonseca. In the women's doubles, Canadian Gabby Dabrowski and her partner Luisa Stefani, they won their quarterfinal matchup and are through to the semis. Coming up in hour 2 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Sportsnet's Mark Spector and Frank Saravalli from Victory Plus TV. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
It doesn't start on game day. It starts before kickoff, before the first snap. It starts with you locking in your season seats. This is Edmonton Elks football. The only way to experience it is being there for every hit, catch, and touchdown. The Elks home opener kicks off June 20th against Montreal. Your season seats are your way in. Get yours now at goelks.com/season seats. Edmonton Elks, our city, our year.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, healing doesn't have to feel heavy, because in our SwimX aquatic therapy pools, you literally float your way to recovery. Whether you're dealing with arthritis, back pain, joint injuries, post-surgical rehab, chronic pain, balance issues, mobility challenges, or just feeling a little creaky, warm water and gentle resistance have your back. your knees, and your hips. Trusted by pro sports teams and rehab hospitals, our SwimX pools help you move sooner, hurt less, and recover faster. So take the load off. Let the water do the work. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The sun's out, the pavement's warm, and that low rumble of a Harley rolling by? Oh yeah, that's calling your name. This is riding season, and if you've been thinking about a new ride, Harley-Davidson of Edmonton has the one that'll get your heart pumping. With a huge selection of new and pre-owned bikes, there's one waiting for you. Whether you're upgrading or just getting started. And while you're there, ask about test rides, because the only way to know is to ride it. For more details, visit Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail, locally owned and operated since 1980, or at hdedmonton.com.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have it all in stock, ready to deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 8:01 in Edmonton, and time now for On the Mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Hey, the June Road Trip Ready event is ready to rock and roll. It's the biggest sale of the year. Enter for a chance to win free gas for the summer, and weekly prizes like detail packages for free, tires, and $19.95 multi-point vehicle inspections to get road trip ready, all at northgategm.com as we welcome in Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Good morning, Spec.
Free gas for the summer, man. That's like better than getting a
about $800,000.
I know it's better than getting a coffee cup. That's for sure.
Well, I mean,
I wonder if Mike Lowe knew what he was getting into before he signed up for that deal.
Well, I think it's probably one of those things. If you can't go to Alberta Beach every weekend, you have to stay in town.
Free gas for the summer, is that like an Antarctica summer, like 7 days, or is it an Edmonton summer? Whose summer is it?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if do you look at what even the price of gas is for a liter, like, or are you just so like just kind of tone deaf to it already?
I don't know. I mean, I put it this way: there's a couple places I'll buy my gas because it's generally cheaper. Like I'm not the guy that just pulls into the first, I know there's a spot in Spruce Grove I buy my gas at. It's usually cheaper. If I'm around a Costco, I'll always go there for sure.
Yeah, but the lineup, you got to wait. And
well, if it's if there's 50 cars there, then you find a plan B for sure. But hey, man, like, you know what? It's with what a tank of gas costs these days, I should probably, pay attention. Right.
I think the last time I filled up the old Dodge Durango from St. Albert Dodge was $170.
Right. Nice. Eh?
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, if you're and let's say you're a young family and you got 3 kids in 3 different sports, and you're driving all over the city all the time.
Yeah.
All of a sudden the monthly budget changed a little bit, didn't it?
Got that right for sure. Hey, game number 1, Stanley Cup final tonight, Spec. If you were like the Duke and sprinkling a little bit of cash out on who's going to win this Stanley Cup, who would you take and why?
I feel like it's Carolina's turn. I feel like it's Carolina, and it's got nothing to do with Vegas as an opponent, because they're the best team out west. There's no doubt in that. But I feel like Carolina's been knocking on the door. They're kind of like they couldn't get past Florida either. Right. They're very similar to Edmonton in that way, that they're very good, but there was someone out there that was better. And I just feel like they've, I've said it 100 times. When I saw that Carolina team play in whatever it was, January in Edmonton, I just thought, man, this team stands out to me from all the other teams I've seen. In the middle of the season, they were playing like a well-oiled machine, and the Edmonton Oilers could have played them 7 times that day. They wouldn't have beat them one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been tapping away and building, and that program is so strong. I think they should. I feel almost more, Kev. I feel like they should. It's time for them to get rewarded. They've done such good work there. It's time for Carolina, Rod Brindamore, all those people to get rewarded with a cup.
Well, 20 years ago, and if you think, I found 2 stats that I couldn't believe, and I can't remember if we mentioned both of them yesterday. I know we didn't do this one. Chris Chelios went 16 years between his first Stanley Cup with the Montreal Canadiens in 1986, and then he won his second one with Detroit in 2002. Well, Jordan Staal, he won in Pittsburgh in 2008, and now he's got a chance all these years later, which is quite remarkable. 17 years when you think about it, the possibility of winning in between cups. And we just had Corey Lavalette on, writes for The Athletic spec out of Carolina. And you think about Rod Brindamore and how he's like Mr. Hurricane. Well, Staal ain't far behind here when you think about it, and all the time that he spent there either. Those 2 guys, there's almost a virtual line between the 2 of them of what they mean to this franchise.
Oh, for sure, right? Can you imagine playing, going that long between cups? Oh my goodness. So they won, but Pittsburgh won in the second of those cups. They won in 2009, right?
I think Staal got traded, spec. So Staal was 19 years old in his second NHL year when he reached the Stanley Cup final with Pittsburgh in 2008.
He reached it in 2008 and he won it in 2009.
Next year got back and won in 2009.
Right. Because I covered those cups, and I don't remember much, but I remember that Detroit won the first one and Pittsburgh won the second when Marc-Andre Fleury stopped Nick Lidstrom coming in from the point on that rebound. 2 seconds left. That was at the old Joe in Detroit, is my recollection. Anyway, what a career. Here's a guy, I'm going to look up his trades here. He's only moved once.
Mm-hmm.
How about this?
Trade. I mean, Brandon Sutter, Brian Dumoulin, and a number 1 pick, which was Derek Pouliot.
So there you go. I mean, this guy turns out to, he played a bunch of good years in Pittsburgh. He's a 1,400 game player.
Yeah.
Right. And, he's just talk about steady Eddie, great leader. That whole family, all the Stalls, just what a hockey family. Those guys are all high character players.
Well,
want one of them on your team any chance you get. There's no secret that Carolina just kept signing this guy contract after contract. Not many guys play 1,400 games and only wear 2 jerseys, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's
got another year left too. And remember that goal that he scored with Josh Anderson all over him? The only thing Anderson could have done was tackle him.
Rip him down, yeah.
And
it's pretty hard to rip him down in the slot, isn't it?
Well, that's another guy. He is a strong guy. If you, I don't know what his weight is. He's probably about he's 220. I bet he's more than that. I'll be honest with you, Spec. Because
they call him 6'4", 220 on Hockey DB, but it's just, listen, such a veteran, done it all, seen it all, been there, been in cups, lost cups, won cups, holy cow. And in Raleigh now for this long, he for sure, he gets obviously he takes the cup if they win it, but that's it. When you're, I guess to me, Kev, when I won't lie, if you're looking at this as a fan, you're kind of looking for things and people to cheer for here.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly, let's not kid ourselves. Here in Edmonton, there's nobody sees anything to cheer for in Vegas. It's not a team between the fact that they play the Oilers all the time, all the tough games, and this Cassidy thing, they're not a likable team, and they don't care. They're not looking to be likable.
Yeah.
And they're good. They're a good program in Vegas, man. 3 cups in 9 years. So, but I think Stahl's one of the guys. You look at Stahl and you look at Taylor Hall, right? Who in Edmonton's not looking at Taylor Hall and kind of smiling and saying, man, Look at this old veteran guy now. Wouldn't it be awesome if he got to raise the cup?
You know, I mean, you think about the journey, and we talked about this earlier today, Spec, too. When he got to, and I think this was yesterday in his media availability, when he got to Carolina, he said he wasn't in good enough shape to play Rod Brindamore's system, which I thought that blew me away. You're 15 years in the league, and I wasn't in good enough shape to play this system, like the man-to-man thing, you know, where you're just making sure that you're sticking to your guy. So I thought that was sort of a different comment.
Yeah. You don't hear guys, first of all, you don't hear many guys with the humility to admit that. And you're right, like hockey players, you know, you hear where you guys say, oh boy, we got the best shaped team in the league, but that's an old hockey cliche, man. But when a veteran guy says he came into a town and there was a different standard, it tells you something for sure. Brindamore's always had his own standard, right? You know, Rod the Bod. He was fit before everybody was in the league was fit. He was the rare guy he was in the gym when guys were still going out for beers in this league, right? And those days are, you know, mostly gone. Yeah. So this team embodies Rod Brindamore, like they're his team. Who said it the other day? I heard it on TV where you could take all the nameplates off and just put Brindamore on the back of all the players, and that's kind of how they play.
Well, I had two buddies that went to the All-Star game back in the I was, you know, as I told you, played against Brindamore in the SJHL, and before the game, before an All-Star game, so think about that, he's in the dressing room doing all kinds of sit-ups and push-ups and everything, and they said, what are you doing? Everyone, like, this was it was a kind of a party atmosphere, you know, to get away for the All-Star game. And he goes, what are you guys doing? Like, you're not doing anything. I'm going to be playing in the NHL here. You guys aren't.
Yeah. That's a pretty fair question.
Yeah. What are you guys doing? You know,
what are you guys doing? Oh, that's something, eh? So there's a single-minded guy, like, you know, and what a great player Rod was. Like, he was just a skill, fight, hit, skate, you know, obviously fit, check, responsible. You know, he was a perfect player almost.
Well, again, the other comment that we talked about was with Brindamore and being Mr. Hurricane. From captain to coach, he's played a role in all 174 games the Hurricanes have played in the Stanley Cup playoffs since he arrived in North Carolina from Philadelphia in 2000. So 26 years. He can become the seventh person in NHL history and the first since Toe Blake with the Montreal Canadiens since 1956 to win the Stanley Cup with the same franchise as a player and a coach. There you go.
Wow, is that right, eh? Yeah. That's really cool, man. That's really
unbelievable.
Cool. Yeah. That's really cool. So, I mean, it really, you can see who's wearing the black hats already in this thing. And again, this plays right into Vegas's MO. They're happy to wear the black hat, man. That's who they are. And it works for them. You know, it works for Vegas to wear the black hat. I was actually thinking of Vegas yesterday when Patrick Laine came out and said, I could have played after Christmas, but I didn't play all year. I thought, wait a second, didn't we always get on Vegas for doing that? Sitting out healthy guys and telling us they were hurt? I guess the Habs were doing it too.
Well, exactly.
Hey.
So you're thinking you got Carolina, it's their time after 20 years. And even though, like, I think it's like a 50-50. And is it 50-50 because of Vegas sweeping Colorado? Is that why?
Well, 50-50 because I don't think that I suppose Vegas has shown us here they're better than we thought. Like, let's all have a little mea culpa here. Who among us picked Vegas to beat Colorado? Nobody.
No one.
And then who even could conceive of the fact that they would sweep Colorado? So when you sweep the President's Trophy winners and we're not talking a bad first round or a bunch of guys injured. Yeah, they had a couple injuries, whatever. They won 2 rounds. They were rested. They were, you know, I know Bakar wasn't healthy, but that's one guy on a President's Trophy winning team, even if he's an important guy. Sweeping him was insanity. So I think the whole hockey world's taken. Remember, where did Vegas come from? They came from the pillow fight division that everyone just spent the last 2.5 months banging on. And all of a sudden, they're the best team out west, unquestionably. So I think the odds people and all I'm putting up my air quotes now, experts are taking a fresh look at Vegas and going, oh, wait a second. Maybe they're better than we thought they were.
Yeah. Hey, did you watch any of that soccer game last night, Spec?
I didn't see any of that soccer game last night. I had some things going on. What happened? 2-0?
Well, yeah, 2-0. Canada beat Uzbekistan, but at 46,000, I think, to sit in that cold rain for 3 hours. That's, full marks to our sports fans in the city for sure.
Oh, come on. I mean, I know the tickets weren't as expensive as the World Cup tickets are. $3,300 for the nosebleeds in Toronto here, but you know what, Ed, I'm like the biggest takeaway for me is when you tell me 46,000 people went out in the rain to watch Team Canada, I'm not the least bit surprised.
Yeah.
Right. How long have we been doing that for in Edmonton? That's
had about 5 years ago when it was minus 8 or 9 out for that game in November.
Yeah, in the what do they call that? Ice Teca?
Ice Teca.
Yeah, Ice Teca. I covered that game. That was really fun. I'll never forget it. I mean,
Great.
soccer in the snow. Come on. How many times did you see that?
It was great. I was giving you the gears. Like yesterday, did you just sit and play crib with Shelka or what?
No, I didn't. We got a little bit of some rentals going on here, so we're kind of out of sorts. So I was helping the guy move some things around, some furniture around and stuff. And then he started painting ceilings, and we got the hell out of here. Went and did something else. But it's not played a game of Scrabble last night. Shelka beat me. Tell you right now. She beat the wordsmith last night. She beat the wordsmith in Scrabble last night.
Easy.
She did.
Man.
She did. We were close till the end, and then she had some one killer great word and blew with a 65 pointer right at the end and blew me out.
You're probably the guy that challenges every second word.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we got to figure out that challenge thing. We do a lot of challenging with no repercussions.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, and what happens is you end up going to look, and then you might find another word. Is what you do. That's the key.
Oh, that's exactly it. Or your word means something completely different than what you thought it meant. Yeah. Oh yeah, I had a few of those for sure.
Yeah, good stuff, Spec. We'll talk to you tomorrow, big guy. Take care, man.
All right, man. Enjoy the games tonight, folks.
You betcha. Mark Spector, Rogers Sportsnet. On the Mark, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. This truck's for you. Check them out at northgategm.com. When we come back, Frank Saravalli from Victory Plus TV on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. I've got some good news. If you've been thinking about a heavy-duty truck, the 2026 Ram 2500 Black Express is now at St. Albert Dodge. You've got 20-inch black aluminum wheels, black Mopar side steps, body color, bumpers and grille, and a Sport Performance hood. Available in all the colors for $68,990. Plus, new this year, Ram's best-in-class 10-year powertrain warranty. Now's the time. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
This jersey was worn by the legend himself, signed and everything. You can't just wear it. I'm framing it with expressions and images.
Your prized jersey deserves better than the closet. Think expressions and images. Your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Summer weekends in Alberta mean one thing: tournament season.
I brought the folding chairs. I brought the sunscreen. I brought the umbrella, just in case.
But who brought the snacks to get through a doubleheader?
I got Alberta's best beef jerky.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, the ultimate sideline fuel. Whether you're cheering on the kids or watching the pros, load up on Alberta's best beef jerky.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Everything is going to be okay. If your debt has you feeling like you're in a free fall, you have options. I'm Dan McDicken, a licensed insolvency trustee with Faber. Becoming debt-free is possible, and a personal bankruptcy or consumer proposal will get you there. Schedule your free Faber Focus session at faber.ca today. You'll learn how a consumer proposal allows you to eliminate your debt by paying a percentage of the amount owed without interest. At Faber, we'll tackle your debt.
Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
From the first pitch to the final out. Catch Toronto Blue Jays baseball games live right here. Don't miss a moment of Blue Jays baseball this season.
Sports 1440 is proud to be the home of Blue Jays baseball.
Any project, big or small, when you need metal cut to your exact measurements fast, count on Metal Supermarkets, a warehouse bursting at the seams with inventory, plus metal bending, drilling, punching, notching, plasma cutting, welding, even delivery. Endless possibilities. Now imagine what they can do for you.
How about a garage shelf?
Think bigger, my friend.
2 garage shelves?
There you go.
I live on the edge.
The local convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com. For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Area, Adjusted, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the 2 best names in the boots business.
Stories, guests, and insights. This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 8:20 in Edmonton, and time now for the headliner of the day, brought to you by Mr. Reuter Plumbing, stepping up to the plate so you won't have to. For all your plumbing needs, go to mrreuter.ca as we welcome in Frank Saravalli from Victory Plus TV. Good morning, Frank.
How you doing, Kevin?
Good. Wow, it's just pouring rain here for about 3 days, Frank. It's just been absolutely abysmal, but I'm sure it's nice and
That's cramping your quest for another hole in one.
It is cramping everything. I mean, although we did golf on Sunday, Frank, we were the only ones on the course, but it was a little chilly.
That's dedication.
It was dedication, but the game stunk because of the conditions. Well, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, let's be honest. Hey, when did you get to Raleigh, big guy?
Got down here last night. Just heading over to the arena now.
Oh, perfect. Give us, what's the buzz like there? Compare it to, the last few cup finals that you've covered. I mean, obviously you were here. Like, what's this one feel like so far once it gets rolling here tonight?
Well, it's a little different than your typical because there's not really like that huge downtown that people would congregate in, or you'd see the banners or the signs or the billboards. So, as you know, a little bit more suburban here, and so a little bit harder to get a read. But I have no doubt that as I pull into the parking lot here momentarily, there will be fans here already ready to tailgate, or already a couple drinks in already.
There's so many storylines to this one as we get underway, and I mean, maybe top of mind, and just because of what happened with Claude Lemieux and Freddie Anderson after, the last game of the Eastern Conference Final. Maybe just touch on that a little bit, Frank, because we never got to discuss it last Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, what an incredibly sad story. Claude Lemieux is such a genuine, heartfelt, emotional guy. My interactions with him as an agent, I mean, like anyone, I saw the player on the ice, and the first time I ever talked to him on the phone, I was just blown away. How calm and level-headed and thoughtful he was. And this impacts both sides of the series. Of course, Freddie Anderson in net for Carolina. And then at the other end, Rasmus Anderson, Claude Lemieux also represented. And one of the common themes is that as an agent, having a son.
I think we just lost.
Treated them as.
Sorry, Frank. You just clicked out for a bit there, so just continue on with your thought there.
Yeah, I was saying, Claude Lemieux having a son, Brendan, that was the same age as these players. He treated these guys as his own kids and brought them in, and particularly the guys from Europe, gave them a home base, and that I think resonated with them big time as they began their NHL careers.
Do you think we're going to look at this as another side storyline where like the players playing for something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something a little more, right? And that was the one quote from Freddie Anderson that really grabbed me on Friday, was when he said, hey, he would just tell me, go out there and take it.
Yeah.
And so it's just tough for him, having just seen Claude in the building with the torch, like in a game that he was playing in, has to be incredibly difficult to try and process.
Yeah. Frank Cervalli with us on Sports 1440. What do you make of what John Tortorella has done here with this team? After, it's 22 years ago when they won the Stanley Cup in Tampa Bay. But it's a remarkable story the last 2 months, isn't it?
Sorry, can you ask that one more time? I was just getting out of the Uber here.
No worries, Frank. Yeah, so I was just saying about John Tortorella. And I mean, you look at, 22 years ago, he's with Tampa Bay. They win the Stanley Cup. On March 28th, he's working for ESPN. The next day, he's coaching Vegas. I mean, this
Crazy.
is a remarkable last couple of months here.
It really is. And that's why, look, I think he deserves a ton of credit, not for getting them here, but in terms of, I think, his own coaching style. To me, this has been the best of John Tortorella that we've seen, because I think he's been so introspective. I think his perception has been bang on. I think he's really nailed the right touch to come in with this team, which is, hey, I didn't do all the work. I didn't put the systems in place, but you know what? I certainly can help build you back up again with the confidence required to be successful. And that's been the big storyline for me, is the way that he's managed all of that.
When you think about the last 2 months and how the dynamic changed, and I think the clip that I always thought was of Mitch Marner saying, well, he brought our swagger back. How long do you think that was lost? Like when did they lose that swagger under Bruce Cassidy?
I think it's one of those situations where, and that's also kind of the irony here, is that, Kevin, no one looks at John Tortorella and says, oh, this guy's a teddy bear. Like, the fact that he comes in as the guy that has really boosted everyone back up, it kind of speaks to the spot that this team was in. And with Bruce Cassidy, I don't think it's like a fall off the cliff. I think it's one of those things where, look, I've spoken to a lot of players that have played for Bruce Cassidy and played for him for a long time. He's a phenomenal coach, but one thing is, he's got this way of grading on you and wearing on you. And there's some sarcasm that's put in place, or part of his personality, that just drives guys a little bit crazy at times. And so I don't know if they had checked out, but had really kind of been beaten down a little bit and felt like they needed a change. And in this case, again, not a teddy bear that takes over, but realizes the importance of confidence and how you can't play without it.
Well, you mentioned Bruce Cassidy, and I did too here, Frank. Anything new on that front? Still status quo. And then to pony that, what did you think of last week? Again, this was after our conversation on Thursday when Kelly McCrimmon said the Oilers leaked this.
That was hysterical. Look, I've taken some great pleasure over the course of my career in terms of how much time and energy Kelly McCrimmon and the Golden Knights have spent trying to figure out who exactly it is that I'm talking to. I can't really say much more than that, because no matter what I say after, people can try and piece together where my information comes from. But it's been fun to watch, I'll say that. And look, nothing new on the Bruce Cassidy front. Look, I think everyone's in Edmonton is hoping that they win the Cup final and feel charitable in their endeavors afterwards, and perhaps let Bruce Cassidy go. And for the meantime, I think it's status quo until after this Cup final is over.
Frank Cervalli, Victory Plus TV, with us on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. Manny Malhotra in Vancouver, named head coach there. And, you talked about this a couple weeks ago. Not much of a surprise here, Frank.
No, not a surprise at all. Look, they had a quality internal candidate. Some people would say, if you go back in time a year from now, that he should have been their coach then instead of Adam Foote. coming off of the Calder Cup win. And now it just fits perfectly. The big thing that they want to try and instill is a culture change. Having Ryan Johnson, who worked with him so closely as assistant GM, running Abbotsford, now in charge, plus him being a former teammate of the Sedins, I just think it connects on so many levels. The only awkwardness or maybe question mark exists is what do they do with the upcoming draft and their pick if Manny's son Caleb is available. But I think you cross that bridge when you come to it because, hey, maybe something else lands in your lap.
Mm-hmm. What do you think happens? Do you think if he's available at 3 or do you think that they say, yeah, we're going to take him?
I think no matter what, he's likely to be available at 3 based on the way I understand and have had conversations with teams. The question is, what else is available in that spot?
Yeah.
Like what happens if the board plays out as I did in my mock draft? Ivor Stenberg 1 to Toronto, Keaton Verhoff 2 to San Jose. Then if Gavin McKenna is there on the board, are the Canucks going to bypass that to take Caleb Malhotra? Maybe. I think this draft, more than any that I've covered, is really one of those drafts where if you love the player, grab him. There may be some trading down. Like I could see the Sharks trading down a few spots. I could see the Chicago Blackhawks trading down. There may be some interest, depending on how the board works, for one of those teams that's a little bit lower, like a Calgary or someone else, to move up. So I think there's lots to be determined. And Caleb Malhotra has really shot up everyone's draft boards because of the premium of the position.
Right.
He's had a great close. He's one of the biggest closers in this draft. And so how that's viewed relative to everything else is going to be fascinating.
Frank Saravalli with his Victory Plus TV, looking like the Nashville Predators are going to be able to speak to Avalanche GM Chris McFarland. How's this going to play out?
I don't know. It's a real head scratcher to me. If you're Colorado, and this is the guy that's done so much of the heavy lifting for you, for Joe Sakic, why do you want to let him go? It's one of the dirty secrets in the league how inexpensively the Colorado Avalanche run their franchise for having one of the wealthiest owners in the world and in pro sports. And so Chris McFarland, I know, is one of the lower paid general managers in the league. You would think that this would be a moment in time where they'd top him up and take care of him and keep him. But I guess if everything's under consideration with another playoff loss, that, hey, maybe it's time to consider something a little bit different.
Do you think that he goes and says, okay, he's going to have a little conversation with Nashville and they say, here's X amount of dollars? Do you think Colorado would say, okay, maybe we'll sweeten it up a little bit for you?
I would have to have thought that would have happened before granting the permission. If a team's calling you saying, hey, we want to talk to your guy because we want to hire him, I think at that point you say, no, we're not going to allow that to happen. We're going to take care of him before the flirtation begins and before he can begin telling other teams how he would do things the right way. Why let someone else go on a fishing expedition?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When we spoke to you on Thursday was right during the Evan Bouchard hit at the World Hockey Championship. Did you hear anything in the last couple days on that at all, Frank?
No, I have not. I know the Oilers were crossing their fingers, hoping that this is not a significant thing, of course. The big concern when you're dealing with successive head hits in a short period of time is just that, hey, this might require some rest. And the last thing you want is to have Evan Bouchard off the ice for a month over the course of the summer. That just delays his training. So that's the big thing that stands out. I don't think there's any concern about the start of next season. It's more so how much will this impact how ready he is.
Frank Saravalli with us. Game number 1 goes tonight. Do you have, if you were to say so-and-so, Vegas is going to win the Stanley Cup or Carolina is going to win the Stanley Cup, why do you say that? And like, what would be the reasoning behind the keys for them winning?
I have Carolina in 7. And to me, I think this is the ultimate chess match series. I think this is a tactical coach's dream. I think at times it might be slightly boring to watch, but how Vegas picks their way through this Carolina setup and relentless pressure. They have some of the smartest players on planet Earth to do it in Mitch Marner, Mark Stone, and Jack Eichel. But how will Carolina's goaltending hold up, I should say, based on this is the best opponent that they've played clearly to this point. And there's a lot of question marks on both sides. That's why I see it going 7 in terms of how this all looks. Just feels to me like this is Carolina's year. They've been knocking on the door. Vegas got hot. They've gotten better each game, but Carolina has been incredibly steady and consistent and haven't had any blips.
That tactical angle are you like kind of referring to Carolina's man-on-man towards a zone that is deployed by Vegas?
That's just one part of it.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is, and especially for these teams that only saw each other twice, is the way Carolina pressures the puck in every zone is so incredibly powerful. It takes you some time to adjust to it. They kind of punch you in the face, and then you got to figure it out on the fly. I know, of course, that Vegas will be ready for that. But look, thinking, as Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. How will they manage it in real time after their longest layoff of the playoffs? That's going to be interesting to watch.
Frank, great stuff. Enjoy game number 1 tonight. We'll talk to you on Thursday.
Thanks, Kevin. Have a good one.
Frank Saravalli, Victory Plus TV, and our headliner of the day brought to you by Mr. Rooter, keeping you out of the penalty box. That's mrrooter.ca. So Frank's got Carolina. Duke, are you going with Vegas or Carolina to win this series?
I'm going to withhold that answer.
Oh, because it's going to be an in or out, I bet.
9:40.
Wow. In or out, we'll be getting...
We're going to be diving into it, Kev.
Okay.
Deep dive.
Deep dive. Wow. Just the two of us again. Eh?
Just the two of us.
Text 833-401-1440. Drew texts in. What do you guys think is the catalyst to Vegas having success in the playoffs? Were they a good defensive team all year and just finally became a team that was in sync? And then the scorers figured it out. I think you're hitting a few of the bullet points here, Drew. This is a team just like almost everyone in the Pacific Division where the lack of consistency over the course of the year was not where we saw it in years prior. You could, if you want to put Anaheim in that mix too, it's just the fact that Anaheim has never been, in the topic of, in the conversation, in the last few years. They finally got it all together and maybe they surprised a few people by what their success was. We definitely saw it again in the Oilers series with Anaheim beating the Oilers. But for Vegas, I think, as you said, they have the structure in place. And if you think about what Frank said about Bruce Cassidy, that maybe he just wore on some of the players that were, that were there for a longer period of time. And maybe that's one cause for concern for the Oilers. But if you think about it and the shelf life, and everyone uses that word, that phrase, the shelf life of a coach like that, he's not around long periods of time. So, but maybe that's the kick in the backside that, some of the players need here. But you're right. If you think about like Mitch Marner had a pretty decent year as far as points go. He didn't put the puck in the back of the net to start the year, though, did he? It took him a while to make those adjustments. Mark Stone still is he's the guy that moves the needle here. He's their captain. He's their leader. But when you think about it, in the playoffs, what is it like? Almost every time, what's it come down to? You get off the bus with the best goaltender, the hottest goaltender, and that's where Carter Hart is right now. Take away even the first series, Drew, in the sense of how Carter Hart played against Utah, and the numbers showed as well. His numbers are way higher in the first series, and they've slowly been dropping down after round 2, after round 3, to where Carter Hart has a goals against average of 2.22. Depending on how this series plays out, if he picks up a shutout here or something like that in a game, he's going to be flirting around like less than 2 goals a game. Freddie Anderson's at 1.41. So when you think about it, and I think, again, Marner's got 21 points. Eichel's got 18. They've got the leading goal scorer in Pavel Dorofeyev and Brett Houghton. So they're getting contribution up and down the lineup, and it's helped them. And we had a text in actually from Northside Lou. The free money for Pietrangelo didn't hurt. Well, that's the money that they used to sign Mitch Marner. So that's where that came from. When we come back, we'll get to more of your texts, 833-401-1440. It's the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports, 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. This deal's only good till 6 o'clock tonight. We need your credit card to hold the color. Hold the color. Summer package. Winter package. And the ever-famous re-PDI fee. I gotta pay to rebuild the car? Does this sound familiar? At Northgate, we do things differently. We offer 0% financing, a great selection of new, pre-owned vehicles. So if you'd like to do business a different way, stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3, saving you more money, with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Okay, new strategy. I'll just live in the freezer till October. It's spacious in here. It's spacious.
There's a better way to survive the coming AC season. Pro Solutions is your one-call-solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. We offer convenient financing options and fast appointments so you can enjoy your entire home, not just the freezer.
Now I can leave the frozen peas where they belong.
Book now at prosolutionsinc.ca.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact because our team is built on second chances and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Greger for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
Debt can take over your life. The stress, the constant worry, it can feel like you're drowning. When people come to see me, they're often anxious and feeling hopeless. But when I explain how I can help them get out of debt, those feelings melt away. I'm Parveen Middleton, licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I will create a personalized debt relief plan so you can move forward with confidence. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
The Kevin Karius Show, breaking down Edmonton's favorite teams, even though his favorite Junior A hockey team is the Yorkton Terriers. Thanks for checking in with Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 8:43 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. Coming up at the top of the hour, we got Jared Bell from USA Today. So many things to discuss when it comes to the two big trades yesterday in the NFL. Myles Garrett, man, that was a blockbuster. And then to follow A.J. Brown, heading from Philadelphia to New England. We could talk about the New York Giants, I guess, adding to their wide receiver room. Would have been like if they would have added these guys like 5 years ago, that would have been not a bad room. But I think at this stage, they're a little long in the tooth for sure. And we'll discuss all that and more with Jared Bell. We'll go in or out in the 9 o'clock hour. And then in our 10 o'clock hour, we got Landon Ferraro, the former NHLer, as well as the con man, Connor Helly. And I was rudely made aware of the Duke and the con man's Fantasy Frenzy baseball team after the Duke wasn't here yesterday, after a decisive victory over Mickey's Mantle on last week. And the Duke, you were saying that this was the best week that you guys had all year.
From a home run perspective, yes.
Oh,
it was the most. Well, but like that's a huge driver of offense because it's runs scored, RBIs, all these things kind of come from a home run. So I didn't check the numbers on every category. Definitely not the pitching side, but I did go back and just quickly cycle through and see. Yes, this past week, the most home runs our team had hit so far this season, and not by a little. I think it was by 5. I think we had 13, and before that, most we'd had was 7 or 8. I can't remember precisely. But yeah, good win. Fantasy Frenzy trending back in the right direction inside the baseball league after a really, really rocky start.
Major League Baseball, the Blue Jays had the day off yesterday. They'll open a series with the Atlanta Braves tonight. We'll have the game for you after the conclusion of the Jason Gregor Show today at 6 o'clock. So they'll play tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday in Atlanta. And then it's back to old Rogers to play the Baltimore Orioles, where they went 2-2, Duke. And that's your series win, apparently.
That's a series win on the road. I heard you guys take a quick little dig at me yesterday discussing that. That's fine. I know it's not popular, but in a 4-game set, like I feel like you're going to split more often than not.
Yeah, most of the time.
And so I give in that situation, I give the edge to the team that does it on the road. If the Jays had split any of those, like against the Yankees, against the Orioles, and I guess it's going to be a 3-game set coming up here this time around. But if they'd lost it or split it on home turf, then I would say they lost the series. Like it goes both ways. It's just these most recent examples have favored the Jays' results from my perspective.
If you say so.
That's fine.
It's going to be Bryce Elder tonight for Atlanta. On the hill for the Toronto Blue Jays will be Kevin Gausman. I was just looking at some fantasy stats in baseball too, Duke, and I can't be more disappointed with Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Well, yeah, that's
3 home. He's on pace for less than 10 home runs and 70 RBI, maybe.
What's your concern level, Kevin?
Well, everything. Like, I'll be honest, and I didn't like when we had Mike Wilner on, and Mike Wilner took a shot at Harold Reynolds. Because remember I was telling you about Harold Reynolds?
Yeah, like doing the swing breakdown.
They brought that, and they busted it down, and they couldn't have done a better job. And they showed absolutely everything about how he's off balance with his glide foot. So his left foot, he's too far ahead because he's the toe tapper. He comes back with his left foot, and then he glides too far ahead, and now he's off balance. All his power is through the strike zone. It's gone through the strike zone because his weight transfer's all gone through it. And that's why he's not hitting the ball. And that's why he's swinging at all garbage and everything, because he's so off balance. But my concern level is very high, Duke. Very high. Yours isn't?
No, it's up there.
I mean, the
no
Jays,
doubt.
They were at 500 there, right? And now they're 2 games below 500 after those losses to Baltimore. They're 29-31. They're 8.5 back of the Rays in the AL East standings, but they're right in the mix for a wild card.
And it's almost like you can just look at that as a full encapsulation of this Jays team. Like the fact that they are still plodding along, scuffling just shy or right at 500 until the big blown lead on Saturday. You have to give a little bit of credit to the rest of the team because you lose your other superstar in Bo Bichette from a hitting perspective, right?
Mhm.
He's no doubt in his years in Toronto, one of the most productive bats in the league.
Yep.
But then your premier superstar is not having any production really whatsoever, and you're still in the mix. So, and their bullpen is so overused. You look, I think of the top 7 bullpen arms for innings pitched in the league, or maybe it's total pitches. I can't remember. I just saw a stat over the weekend. The Jays have like 6 of the top 7.
Yeah.
They're all guys out of their pen. And
Well, Louis Varland
it's
has
Varland, it's
Yeah.
Fluharty, it is Jeff Hoffman even, like, and I know he had the big meltdown on Saturday. You guys talked about that yesterday too. Disappointing, but it's kind of across the board that just because of these injuries, and now all of a sudden you look at the Jays rotation, you have 2 bullpen days
Mhm.
in your rotation. No team can sustain that. You have a limited number of arms at your disposal. So unless on the other 3 days of your rotation, you have guys going 8 innings, unrealistic expectation, then this is going to catch up with you. And we've seen it happen at times. They need to get some more help. They need to get guys back off the injured list and shore up that side, because eventually that will fall down. And unless it comes in complete tandem with some of the offensive things that have let this team down, picking up primarily Vlad Guerrero Jr., then they're going to be in trouble and they're going to fall out of this wild card race in pretty short order, because the fact that the pitching is held together as well as it has to this point has blown me away.
As far as home runs go for the team, Duke, for the team, what place do you think Vladimir Guerrero is on the Blue Jays in home runs?
Ooh,
it's unbelievable.
20th?
Well, no, just on the team, like on the Jays. So I mean,
Well, I'm just talking like how many guys are maybe not even on. How many did David Schneider have? Does he have a couple before pigeon toss to Buffalo? He might have 2, maybe.
I think he had 2, yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. Like,
He's eighth on the Blue Jays.
Yeah, well,
Like, and this is the guy that should be head and shoulders leading the team in home runs. He's got 3 home runs. That is worse than Brandon Valenzuela. It's worse than, Andres Jimenez has twice as many home runs.
which once again it's 2-stroke. What is Vlad Guerrero Jr. doing that is the situation he's in? But also, man, Andres Jimenez has stepped up in a big way for this team with the bat so far this year, and you got to give him credit for it. And it was a name that since he was acquired, we say this is going to be a big piece for this team, and then especially more so when they say we're comfortable moving on from Bo Bichette because yes, Jimenez is not going to have the bat production, but we think he can improve on that while being a Gold Glove level defender that we're comfortable.
Hendrik Penango has the same amount of home runs as Vladimir Guerrero in a third of the plate appearances.
And in his first season in the major leagues.
So maybe a new month springs some hope for a guy like Guerrero Jr., but they got to figure this out and figure it out quick, because you cannot have a guy that's, he's going to be pushing 650 plate appearances, maybe more, and have the stats that he has right now. Again, so tonight it's Kevin Gausman up against Bryce Elder. The best, you know what? Patrick Corbin's been really good since they picked him up off the Sarkan heap here. They'll throw him tomorrow. And then the best pitching matchup goes on Thursday on getaway day. That'll be Trey Savage and Chris Sale, 2 really good chuckers. They selected the contract of Hayden Junger from the minors on the weekend. Charles McAdoo came up late last week, actually hit a home run in his debut. So we'll see what they do with Charles McAdoo moving forward. Text 833-401-1440. AA Ron says, at least the Jays aren't paying $60 million to Kyle Tucker. Guy looks like someone who hates his job, just there for the paycheck. Well, what's he got? About 4 home runs this year? Kyle Tucker in LA. Massive check. And the Jays wanted him. They wanted him. Ryan says, Vlad needs Bo. Bo's not Jimenez is having a better year than Bo by far.
The Mets are a disaster in essentially every single facet.
Well, Soto had a hell of a month.
Sure.
Well, he did.
Look, where's the team at?
Yeah. That's an embarrassment too. Yeah.
And then you talk about spending all the money is supposed to fix all the problems, right, Kevin? That's the baseball's its imbalance. Is the team that spends the most wins the most. The Mets seem bound and determined to prove that is just not true.
They lost Clay Holmes
since Stevie Cohen bought the team, essentially. And yes, they had some regular season success and playoff a little, but no, it's so Mets. It's so Mets it hurts.
Carson Benj is leading off for them. Bichette's hitting second. They brought up AJ Ewing about 10 days ago. He's only 22 years old, but they don't have, they're pitching Freddie Peralta. They pick him up. McLean's a young guy yet at 24, but they lost, as I said, Holmes. He was really good before he got hurt, broke his leg off that comebacker. They got a ton of guys. Lindor's on the IL. Louis Robert. They go after Louis Robert Jr. and the guy can't be more of a Band-Aid. He can't be more injured than what he is. But they got a dozen guys that are on the injured list right now. A dozen, at least that. So, hey, coming up at the top of the hour, we got Jared Bell from USA Today. We'll bust down those trades yesterday in the NFL. Two big ones in Myles Garrett and A.J. Brown. We'll go in or out with the Duke of Delburne, plus Landon Ferraro and the Con Man coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. Before all that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by AWS Welding Supplies in Nisku. Product sales, servicing, calibrating, free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. Your one-stop shop for all things welding. That's awswelding.ca. Here is the Duke.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Canada's men's national soccer team last night from Commonwealth defeated Uzbekistan 2-0 in their next to last tune-up game ahead of opening up the World Cup against Bosnia-Herzegovina. Jonathan Osorio scored for Canada the 58-minute mark to serve as the game-winning tally. They'll wrap up their friendly schedule on Friday in Montreal against Ireland. From the NHL's offseason, Vancouver Canucks have hired Manny Malhotra as the team's 23rd head coach in franchise history. Malhotra has been head coach of their American League affiliate Abbotsford Canucks for the past 2 seasons, winning the Calder Cup last year. And in the majors yesterday, just 9 games total with several teams in it. Transit Detroit get past Tampa Bay 10-9. Minnesota topped the White Sox 9-6. Texas over St. Louis 2-1. D-backs topped the Dodgers 4-1, and in the nightcap, Seattle Mariners over the Mets 3-2. Finally, from the French Open at Roland Garros, men's quarterfinal action continuing this morning. Alex Zverev currently up in his match against Rafael Jodar. Still to come in the other quarterfinal, Jakub Mensik will play Joa Fonseca. And in women's doubles quarterfinals this morning, Canadian Gabby Dabrowski and her partner Luisa Stefani, they went advanced through to the semis. Coming up in hour 3 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by Jared Bell from USA Today covering the NFL, and we'll hear today's edition of Cam and Eggs. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Mr. Rooter buries evidence in the desert.
I didn't mean to do it. I was forced into it. Yeah, forced. But now, no one will ever know. You've done well, Mr. Rooter. You did something awful, but you covered your tracks. It's done. The last transcript that shows I did a semester of nutrition school.
Uncover evidence of the proudest plumber, Mr. Rooter.
It's time to hit the greens. Elevate your golf game with Country Club Tour Golf Academy. No matter your experience, our PGA of Canada teaching pros are here to help. Enjoy lessons year-round between our 7 CCT golf courses and 2 state-of-the-art indoor facilities. Choose the location convenient for you. We offer private lessons, group lessons, expert club fittings, and junior cams. Visit our website to learn more and get ready to take your game to the next level. Booking is easy. Go to countryclubtour.com/golf academy and schedule your lesson today.
When thirst strikes and your energy begins to fade, one hero rises above the rest. Introducing the Superpower Smoothie from Booster Juice. A bright sun-charged burst of mangoes, bananas, and blue spirulina. An out-of-this-world smoothie, just in time for the new Supergirl movie. Discover your power and channel your inner superhero. Fly into your local Booster Juice and experience it for yourself today. And see Supergirl. Only in theaters June 26th.
The longest-running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Whether you're refinancing or buying your first home, mortgages are easier with help from a neighbor. At Vision Credit Union, you get face-to-face guidance from local lenders who know the market because, well, they live here too. They'll look at your whole financial picture with practical advice for payments, renewals, refinancing, and what makes sense long-term. Get a more neighborly mortgage. Contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca.
The puck is passed up through the neutral zone, and here's a breakaway. He's coming in hot. He shoots it. Oh, no! A broken stick.
When it comes to performance, quality parts matter. Napa Auto Parts has all the reliable parts, tools, and more to keep your vehicle running like a playoff contender. With over 85 locations in Alberta, visit your local Napa store today or shop online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Hey there, it's Brandon Douglas from Sports 1440. I was tired of slow, unreliable internet connections, so I signed up for Starlink. It's fast, reliable even in bad weather, and has made streaming for movie nights and online gaming so much better. The summer doesn't mean a break from watching sports, and I've been streaming all the games seamlessly when at the family farm, despite the remote location. If you're ready for a better internet experience, you can order online in 2 minutes at starlink.com/radio or call 1-888-GO-STARLINK.
You're listening to Sports 1440 and watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Sports 24/7. We are Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 9:01 in Edmonton. So glad you're with us here on a Tuesday, rainy, soggy morning here in the City of Champions. But I think it's going to clear up, maybe tomorrow. I think we still got pretty well cloud cover moving into tomorrow, but Thursday a tad better. And we got, I think, rain's in the forecast here for most of this week. But you know what? Everything's, if you think of gardens and the fields and everyone's seating, everything's going to be a little stunted here because of the cold. We needed the rainfall, but it's just so cold. I think the growth will be stunted a little bit. We're just working on Jared Bell from the USA Today, covers the NFL. We'll talk a little bit about those trades yesterday for sure. He's a plugged-in dude, man. Really plugged-in dude. So, there was big trades yesterday, and I don't think they caught people off guard. The A.J. Brown one was been talked about for a long time here. But I think the Myles Garrett one, and if you listen to the comments out of Cleveland with their general manager, Andrew Berry, saying, well, we still wanted to keep Myles Garrett in the fold. But when you look at what the offer was, well, now you have to maybe pivot and make a different decision. Let's welcome in Jared Bell from USA Today. Good morning, Jared. We're with Kevin Karius once again. Hey, thanks for jumping on Sports 1440, big guy. Really appreciate it.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing, man?
Yeah, it's been a while, but good to talk to you again, Jared. Did those trades yesterday, man? Let's start with the Myles Garrett. Did you think that this one was in the works? And what do you think of the return that Cleveland got here?
Yeah, that's a little bit to unpack there. So let me just say, first of all, yesterday felt like the start of free agency. You know, you have all these deals and this flurry of activity, and we know it was triggered by June 1st being the date where you can spread out your salary cap detriments, if you will. And so that was a factor there. Mm-hmm. But no, I did not think that it was going to happen with Myles Garrett to be traded because they had told us for a long time that they were not going to do that. Mm-hmm. And so once it happened, though, and you hear the Browns' explanation, I guess you take it for what it's worth. I did not think it was a great deal for the Cleveland Browns just because, Myles Garrett is a proven commodity. He's the best defensive player in the league. Even though you're not viewed as a Super Bowl contender at this point, maybe you are next year, maybe you do things. I mean, we just saw the New England Patriots get to the Super Bowl after being down for, so long in the post Bill Belichick era. And so these things can turn around fast. You got the draft picks. You got Jared Verse, who is a rising star in the NFL, no doubt about that, but he's not Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
And the draft picks that you got, a first, a second, and a third, well, that's like buying a house on spec. You expect that you're going to make good on those draft picks, but the Cleveland Browns have been there before, and as they have other teams where you get a collection of draft picks, and then you got to wait and see what you do with those picks.
Yeah.
Draft capital is good. You can do things to package those picks and all of that, but now we're getting into a whole money ball thing, and I just think that it's tough to give away or to trade away a player who is just so dynamic as Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Well, and
really
you were
dealing away A.J. Brown is a different story.
Yeah,
but
we'll get to that in a second too, Jared. But like in your article, you brought up the comparison to last year, a year ago, with Micah Parsons and the Cowboys trade with the Packers. So maybe just give us your thought process comparing the two deals here.
Yeah, so Micah Parsons, the Cowboys got a player, Kenny Clark, and they got 2 first-round draft picks. And so given that, Myles Garrett, I think, is more valuable than Micah Parsons. And that's, Micah Parsons is a beast, right? And Myles Garrett is even better than that because he's a bigger guy on the defensive line. And Micah Parsons, as good as he is, he's not as physical as a Myles Garrett. And, he is an edge guy. And like I said, all due respect to Micah Parsons, right? So if the Cowboys got that for Micah Parsons, then I'm thinking that's the floor if I'm going to entertain offers for Myles Garrett. The Browns obviously did not see that as the floor, and thus they made the deal that they did, getting a first-round pick, by the way, that might be number 32.
Right. Yeah.
Might essentially be a second-round pick if the Rams are going to be as good as everybody thinks that they are going to be. So, and they are projected to be. And that's not to say that the Rams are not the favorite and shouldn't be the favorite. They've done some pretty impressive things in the offseason, getting Trent McDuffie earlier and coming back with, the nucleus of the team that they almost got to the Super Bowl with last year.
How stinky are the Browns going to be next year, JB?
Oh my goodness. It's tough to say, but I think if you look at where they are and you look at their division with Pittsburgh and Baltimore and Cincinnati, I mean, you still expect them to be bringing up the rear in the AFC North. Now, they won 5 games last year. They won 3 games the year before. And so I'll split the difference and say maybe if they win 4 games. No, hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens in terms of Todd Monken putting his stamp on the offense. I mean, I think that's the unknown here. There's obviously a lot of conversation and questions about what they'll do at quarterback. You start there, right?
Yeah.
And Shedeur Sanders is positioned to compete for the job, but they're talking about Deshaun Watson being in the mix as well. And hey, if you've guaranteed him $250 million, then you may as well see if he can be your guy after, all of the drama and the setbacks, injuries pretty much for Deshaun Watson. So he'll be in that mix. And, maybe you catch fire with that. But, Yeah. I think the Browns will be obviously interesting to watch. And like I said, you've got a new coach, you've got the uncertainty at quarterback, but and you got Jared Verse now.
Yeah.
and so, but I don't think that we're looking at them as really being a contender for being that team that makes that big leap this year. But we've seen things happen in the NFL. So you may have this on tape, and we'll come back in November and see what it looks like. But I'm not gonna roll the dice on the Browns right now.
Yeah, USA Today's Jared Bell with us on the Kevin Karius Show here on Sports 1440. So conversely, the A.J. Brown trade was talked about, rumored about for weeks and weeks. What do you make of that trade, sending him to New England?
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed like it was just a matter of time, and as it turned out, it was a matter of time. I think the connection between Mike Vrabel and A.J. Brown, going back to Brown's beginning of his career in Tennessee with Mike Vrabel, is kind of what made this deal work for A.J. Brown, and conversely for the Patriots right now, because A.J. Brown is a very talented player, a number one receiver, explosive, dynamic, all of that, and they needed that. And with Stephon Diggs being gone, okay, here's your number one now. The thing that really intrigues me, and I think it's got to excite the Patriots fans, if you will, is the relationship between Vrabel and A.J. Brown. And at some point over the last few months, I think I saw some stuff out there where A.J. Brown said that he and Mike Vrabel, stayed in touch, since the Tennessee days. And so that really kind of gives you an indication of the expectation of how they will connect. You look at that, and then you think about A.J. Brown falling out in Philadelphia for several reasons, or for unknown reasons. Let's just say the chemistry hasn't been there or wasn't there, even though they won a Super Bowl. But since then, it's not really been there. So the Eagles drafted a receiver. They still have Devontae Smith. Saquon Barkley obviously coming out the backfield and being that guy, and Jalen Hurts. So, I think Philadelphia was just a matter of, okay, let's cut our losses. Now, the number one pick they get, I think it's 2028 if I'm not mistaken, but it's still a couple years away for getting that first round pick. So that's interesting, but I think it had to be a case for them to say, okay, let's move on from A.J. Brown, obviously. But it's been talked about, like you said, for months.
Yeah.
Just because I think everybody knew that the chemistry just had really, disintegrated there between A.J. Brown and especially Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, how about the New York Giants and all the receivers they're going to bring in here? And I think they're not on the hook as far as like their tryout contracts. But I mean, man, this room would have been pretty good 5 years ago, Jared. Never mind now. But
yeah, I think the thing that's interesting about the receivers they brought in this week and signed, and like you said, a few years ago it would have really been impressive. But OBJ, what's he got left, and what kind of player can he be and a contributor? That's one thing. Is he still explosive, dynamic, and all of that, right? Braxton Berrios is a guy who can, help out on special teams and be that player that could fill a void there. Juju Smith-Schuster, I mean, goodness, he's been with Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and maybe another team or two.
New England?
I mean, he's New England, yeah. So he's bounced around, and he's never really been that, of an explosive receiver, but he's always kind of been that guy that could work the middle, and he's a bigger receiver, so you can see him being able to block and do some things to help out in the running game. So I say all that to say that these are three different types of receivers that the Giants have signed. And not to say all three of them are going to make the team, right? They're added to that room, and I think they'll just have to let it play out. But I think the reason why they signed three of them instead of one of them, in my mind, is the opportunity to find a match with the rest of the guys that they have. And they got Malik Neighbors obviously coming back as their number one, and it all kind of starts with him when you talk about the passing game. But these other guys could fill a role at some point. And so by signing all three of them, you just kind of let the chips fall where they may. But, the Giants are on the move again.
Hey, one last one. I know you got to get rolling here, Jared, but hey, Stanley Cup final gets going tonight. I know your Motown guys, your Detroit Red Wings, had a tough go to close out the season. Who do you got to win the Stanley Cup, big guy?
Man, I have not been following it. So, since we're in Edmonton, what do we think?
Well, I mean, we got Carolina and Vegas. Game 1 goes tonight.
Right.
A lot of people think it's going to be a close series. So, I don't know. We're going to have a question about it here in the next little bit, but some people are taking Carolina, some people are taking Vegas, Jared. So it's close.
Yeah, I'm just not there. I have no clue. I've heard a whole lot about Carolina, so we'll see. But I can't give you anything on that today. Usually I'm good to talk a little bit of hockey, but it's been so much NFL stuff this year. I've not watched much, and have not watched much NBA either. So same answer for that. Don't really know, but I'll watch a little bit of it. But I did. I watched some of the Buffalo Montreal series. Yeah, that was good. I got into that for a few days, but hadn't done a whole lot of scouting, if you will. So we'll see.
You got to get back to the Motown guys. You got to get your Red Wings going here and get them in the playoffs.
Yeah, we like to see that. Red Wings and Pistons, they both need to, step it up.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey, Jared, as always, thanks for coming on. Take care, Kevin. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Take care. Thanks for having me.
Jared Bell, USA Today. Great update on Myles Garrett, A.J. Brown situation in New York with the Giants receivers. I wanted to talk to him, but he had to get out of here a quarter after about Larry Fitzpatrick's dad, because he'd sent out a post, Jared did, about Big Fitz and saying how much everyone's going to miss him. Just passed away, Larry Fitzgerald's father. So he was in the Minnesota organization doing broadcasting work and things like that. So maybe the next time we'll talk about Big Fitz with Jared Bell. When we come back, we will get to more of your texts, 833-401-1440. We'll also go check in with Cam Tate, another edition of Cam and Eggs, and we'll go in or out with the Duke of Delburne as well on the Kevin Karius Show. Josh Fenwick also with us in studio. Maybe we'll touch on a little basketball here in this segment too with Josh. You're listening to the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne and Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Looking for a solid 4x4 that checks all the boxes? The 2026 Jeep Compass is in stock now at St. Albert Dodge, and this is a great value, starting from just $36,900. It's a Jeep, so you've got 4x4 capability, plus features like an 8.4-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, active lane management, a park view rear backup camera, and more. Over 30 in stock right now in just about every color you'd want. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Wondering what you can afford? Let Go Auto do the math with our free car loan calculator. No pressure, no awkward convos, just quick answers on your budget and payments. Bad credit? No credit? We got you. Text check to 780-777-7777. That's check to 780 all sevens. Find out what you qualify for and start shopping with confidence. Go Auto. Drive what you love with payments that make sense.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Are you overwhelmed by debt and getting nonstop calls from creditors? It can feel like there's no escape. Debt doesn't have to be a life sentence. A single call can turn things around. My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO right here in Edmonton. I can help you become debt-free with a solution just for you. Let's put an end to those calls from creditors together. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
For the most physically demanding jobs, Carhartt's Rugged Flex technology provides extra stretch where it's needed most to help you crouch, kneel, bend, or crawl with ease. Rugged Flex pants give you a maximum mobility advantage every time you put them on. Find the largest selection of Carhartt Rugged Flex at all 3 of our Edmonton job site workwear locations and online at jobsiteworkwear.ca.
Job site workwear, tough people, tough jobs.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 921 in Edmonton. Kevin Karius, Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick with you here. Game number 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals goes tonight. Game number 1 of the finals, the NBA championship, goes tomorrow with the New York Knicks taking on the San Antonio Spurs. And the Knicks are trying to do something that hasn't been done in a long time in their franchise history, and that's win it all. You got to go back to the guys like we talked about for the last little bit, Willis Reed, Phil Jackson, back in 73, to win it all. You know, there have been 17 different franchises, and you can count 18 if the Thunder and the Seattle Supersonics are considered separately, as some fans prefer, that have celebrated NBA titles since the Knicks last won. Even in that time, the LA Lakers have won 11 times. Boston, 7. Chicago, 6. Golden State, 5. No matter who wins, it'll be the 8th consecutive year that a different team has won the NBA championship. Josh Fenwick, you were going San Antonio in 5 or 6.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to soften up a little bit.
Doggies.
I can. You know, I'm a big enough man to admit that maybe I was a little headstrong in my initial predictions. Lots of reading since this final's been set, and going back and watching old matchups between these two clubs, and how the Thunder played the Spurs and everything. So I do still think the Spurs. However, I think I might end up taking the Spurs in 7 here.
Okay. Well, you think about where the Knicks are, 11 straight victories.
Yeah, and then an extra week off or so here, right? So then the Spurs. So
you got to think, a month ago, they were trailing Atlanta 2-1.
Yeah, they played in the month of May. They played 11 basketball games, but before that, they were getting carved up by CJ McCollum. I mean, they beat the Spurs in the NBA Cup way back in December here, and then they had a big game on New Year's Eve.
134, 132, and that was Julian Champagne.
Yeah,
with 11 threes.
His big performance, the Julian Champagne game. Series doesn't start until you lose at home. Honestly, I think they'll split both home games.
Really? So you think?
Yeah.
I just want the Knicks to win.
I can see where you're coming from. That being said, I spend a lot more time on NBA Twitter and things than you do. I don't want to see the Knicks win just so I don't have New York Knicks fans in my timeline for the next
That's okay.
365
What's wrong with
days.
that?
Because they are by far the most obnoxious fans in sports. Like,
who do you think? Like you, I'm just trying to think about the courtside.
Oh, Celebrity Row.
Yeah, like in New York, obviously. I would assume maybe some of these fans will travel to San Antonio too.
Oh yeah, Timothy Chalamet I think will be courtside for every game.
Okay.
Ben
Who's that?
Stiller.
That's the Bob Dylan guy.
Yes, that's Bob Dylan. Ben Stiller, I think he'll travel with his
Spike
bride.
Lee, no?
Spike Lee, that's a guy who travels, no doubt. But like aside from that, I don't think Tracy Morgan's making the trip over to San Antone or anything like that. I think the real sickos, the Ben Stiller, Timothy Chalamet, Spike Lee, I think those guys are set to like be courtside for every game.
I saw the one Seinfeld episode, Duke with Kramer he got courtside tickets to the Knicks game, and they said, well, what happened? He goes, well, I got into it with Spike Lee and I got into it with Reggie Miller, and then like whatever happened. Then what happened? Oh, nothing. And then all three of us went to a strip club. And that's when Kramer got Jerry to bet on the Knicks because he didn't want his gambling addiction to come through. And then he came back, he said, oh yeah, because they won by 37 or whatever it was, covered the spread, and Kramer goes, you got to let her ride, pal. You got to let her ride. Duke, you got San Antonio, I'm sure, too, as well?
I'm not sure I'm decided yet. I might need to do a little more crack research on this. I did come across and forgive me if you broached this yesterday or not, in kind of your recap of the Game 7 from Saturday night. But there's some kind of interesting parallels. We know, of course, that the last time the Knicks were in the final, they played the Spurs.
Yep.
But that year was also Tim Duncan's first NBA Finals. One of the best players in the history of the game, certainly in Spurs franchise history. So in that year, 1998-99, the 22-year-old Tim Duncan defeated Minnesota Timberwolves, Portland Trailblazers, and what was considered the other, his rival for the best big man in basketball, which was Shaq O'Neal with the Lakers.
Shaq-alicious. Yeah.
And then defeated the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. This year, Victor Wembanyama, 22 years old, has defeated the Blazers, has defeated the Timberwolves, and has defeated one of the other considered best big men in all of basketball. And a guy that is seemingly, it didn't really come out of nowhere. It was kind of lost on me because apparently they have some history at like their U18 tournaments internationally with Chet Holmgren. Like they got real beef. He hates Chet Holmgren, and he defeats him in spectacular fashion, particularly in Game 7. Holmgren was terrible. And now we'll play the New York Knicks in the finals here 27 years later. So some history repeating itself up to this point, if you're drawing some parallels across generations, and we'll see if the Spurs can pull that off here in their first trip. And it's funny because we talk about this all the time, Kev. This isn't supposed to happen, right? You're not supposed to do it all in your first trip to the dance. You got to lose before you win. This Spurs team is so young, so inexperienced, and I was blown away by their resolve, their mettle, what they showed in Game 7 on the road in Oklahoma City. And just for the Thunder, it was just a matter of a couple of your players were not good enough. Notably, Chet, Lou Dort was not good. Shea was as good as he could be, I thought, and not enough, unfortunately, as a one-man unit. Because the Thunder, part of their allure is how good they are as a team, bench, etc. And Game 7, they just didn't have enough guys show up.
Yeah.
Fun fact about that 99 finals. The Spurs win in 5 games. Tim Duncan, 11 minutes of rest through the entirety of the series.
He played every minute except for 11 minutes?
11 minutes of rest through the entire series.
It's pretty damn good.
That's not bad.
It's dependable.
Yeah.
I guess we got to do Cam and eggs here, Duke, or what? Should be order number 36, I think. Cam and eggs, maybe 37. I don't know. I think he missed a couple too, Tater. Anyway, here's Cam Tate, another edition of Cam and Eggs.
Cam and Eggs, Order 35. Claire Drake, University of Alberta, Golden Bears. One of the finest hockey minds the hockey world has ever produced. Claire Drake believed in one thing above everything else. The team. The team. Always the team. Individual stats, individual praise, individual anything. No thank you. The team. Because there ain't no I in team. Now, John Tortorella, Vegas Golden Knights, head coach, goes by Torts. The man who once made a reporter visibly consider a career change mid-press conference. Loud, bombastic. The kind of guy who doesn't just take up space in a room, he invoices the room for it. Egotistical? You tell me. You tell me. But yesterday, Stanley Cup Final, Raleigh, North Carolina, Media Day, Game 1 tonight. Reporter asks Tortorella about one of his players. Hold it, we're talking about the team. Another reporter, Carolina's line combinations. Hold it, the team. We are talking about the team. Somebody asked about the weather. We think he said hold it. That is Claire Drake. That is word for word, tone for tone, Claire Drake of the University of Alberta Golden Bears coming out of the mouth of John Tortorella of the Vegas Golden Knights at the Stanley Cup Final. Two men who have never shared a rink, possibly never shared a time zone, and one of them showed up inside the other one like a philosophical Russian doll. In Raleigh, yesterday. About an hour ago, Frank Saravalli called Kevin from the backseat of an Uber on the way to morning skate. Frank Saravalli, one of the best hockey journalists in the country, filing from an Uber rear seat, Raleigh, North Carolina. Just a man, a phone, and a driver who now knows more about Tortorella than he ever planned to. Frank sees a new Torts. Team first. Calm-ish. Still Torts, but with the volume knob turned down maybe 15%. Frank still picks Carolina in 7. Still picking against the man. But this version of Tortorella? Hold it, we're only talking about the team version. Could win his second Stanley Cup. Claire Drake, John Tortorella. Same sentence in 2025. Nobody had that on their bingo card. Game 1 is tonight. We will be back with Dr. Gregor Tiz afternoon with a look at Carolina's Rod Brindamore. Cam and Eggs, Sports 1440.
So is he just putting in order number 35 just to get me going?
I really don't know.
You never know.
I was kind of chuckling as you were saying that before we started because I had listened to the start of it, just check the audio and things quickly, usually before we run it. And that's the first thing he says, order 35. And you're immediately, I think we're on order 36. So nobody knows.
No.
Nobody knows what order we're actually on. We need to do a little more crack research, get our best men on that to figure it out.
Chris Johnston has just posted on the socials the final voting totals for the 2025-2026 Norris Trophy. Zach Werenski is the winner. They haven't had an announcement yet, or they had the announcement, but what am I missing here, Duke? Is maybe just the voting totals from the professional hockey writers?
Well, I think the league announced it here this morning.
Okay. But here's the voting totals. Zach Werenski is your winner with 113 first place votes, 1,589 points. So how the voting works is it's first, second, third, fourth, fifth. You get 10 points, 7, 5, 3, 1. Cale Makar's second. Rasmus Dahlin is third. We all knew that. Those were the three finalists. Evan Bouchard, Edmonton Oilers defenseman, finished fourth in voting. He had 12 first place votes, 22 second place votes, 36 third place votes, 32 fourth place votes, and 43 fifth place votes. But he is fourth on the list. And when the three finalists came out, a lot of people were wondering where Bouchard would stand. Mo Sider was 5th, Lane Hudson 6th, Quinn Hughes 7th. Then the list kind of whittles down from there. Just looking at the numbers, I mean, Zach Werenski had 113 first place votes. We talked about his finish to the regular season, comparing it with the start of the regular season for Evan Bouchard. Werenski basically did nothing the last 10 games. Columbus fell from a playoff spot out of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Cale Makar, 47 first place votes. So there's a wide discrepancy from first to second in the voting. You know, well over twice as many first place votes for Zach Werenski. I thought this would be even much closer, to be honest with you, between Dahlin and Werenski and Makar, to be honest with you. And again, 13 first place votes for Dahlin. Evan Bouchard had 12. When we come back, we'll go in or out with the Duke of Delburne on Sports 1440. Josh Fenwick also with you on a Tuesday morning. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch as well.
Mr. Rooter buries evidence in the desert.
I didn't mean to do it. I was forced into it. Yeah, forced. But now, no one will ever know. You've done well, Mr. Rooter. You did something awful, but you covered your tracks. It's done. The last transcript that shows I did a semester of electrician school.
Uncover evidence of the proudest plumber, Mr. Rooter.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
A lot of you love hockey season.
We do. And score!
But when it comes to construction season,
Come on already.
you're not as excited. Unless you work for GS Construction. It's true. As one season is winding down, ours is winding up with all sorts of great projects to make the city we live in better. And our team is hiring. GS Construction is scouting for pipe layers, topmen, and heavy equipment operators. So if you want to score a great job, visit gsconstruction.ca today.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Hi, it's Jason McCoy. You know, music's given me a lot of great moments, but nothing means more than time with my dad. When he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, a simple PSA blood test was key in detecting it early, and we got more years, more laughs, and more memories. Guys, it's a quick test that just might end up saving your life.
Join the Princess Auto Motorcycle Ride for Dad in Edmonton, Saturday, June 13th. Register or donate at ridefordad.ca.
Hi, Edmonton. Are you ready to serve up some summer fun? Join Subaru at the Edmonton Expo Center on June 13th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for a free, family-friendly tennis event designed for all ages from 3 to 83. Whether you're a seasoned player or have never picked up a racket, come to have fun and celebrate the start of tennis season in a comfortable indoor space. Register today at edmontontennis.ca. Make some memories and welcome summer with Subaru. Welcome to Uncommon.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program, 9:38 in Edmonton. Time now for In or Out, brought to you by Pro Solutions. If you need fast AC service, Pro Solutions offers expert repairs, tune-ups, and installs with flexible financing. Book your appointment now at prosolutionsinc.ca.
Okay, you know what? Moving too fast. Bottom line, are you in or you out?
In or out of what?
No time for questions, just action. In or out?
Well, then I'm out.
I'm sorry, Jet. Actually, you're already in.
Are you in or are you out?
On Sports 1440.
I thought you would go, I'm in, Bob. We would have had a really cool moment, but you kind of ruined the whole thing.
All right, Duke, Letterbuck.
The 2026 Stanley Cup Final getting underway tonight. Game 1 from Raleigh, North Carolina. Hurricanes, Golden Knights, each vying for a second Stanley Cup win in franchise history. X factors, cliche, overused. I don't give a hoot, Kevin. We're breaking it down here. The X factor for each respective team. We're excluding the goaltenders because I feel like that's always a cop-out answer. And listen, it's a very important position. It's the only guy that's on the ice the whole game, hopefully, for your team. So excluding goaltenders, X factors I'm looking at here. Sebastian Aho for the Hurricanes. He is on paper, from a skill perspective, the team's best player. Quiet offensively so far through these playoffs. A couple game-winning goals. He's the top-line guy down the middle. He will need to be at his best for the Hurricanes to take this home. And on the other side, I'm going with a guy that has not been quiet. He's been about as loud as anybody in these playoffs, leading it or tied atop the lead of the playoffs in total goals. Pavel Dorofeyev, top-line player. He almost, I don't want to say gets forgotten about, and that's certainly not the case when you're scoring 10 goals in the playoffs, but you're riding shotgun with Jack Eichel, Ivan Barbashev, two guys whose responsibilities stretch probably the full 200 feet. Dorofeyev, it gives him a little freedom to play a little bit looser, and he's a pure bona fide goal scorer. I think he will need to continue this red-hot pace for Vegas to emerge out on top.
Well, I'm going to go with Dorofeyev, along with Howden, 10 goals, leading the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Aho. I get where you're coming from. I can't say that whole second line, can I?
Well, that you essentially just want them to carry on, continue as they've been, and a little bit of a slower start production-wise against Montreal, but when the games mattered the most, and I guess it would have been 4 and 5 especially, they brought it. They had it all there. So they've been unreal, no doubt.
Yeah, no. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to go with Seth Jarvis as my X factor.
Yeah, good choice.
Over Aho, but I'll stick with you on Dorofeyev there, Duke. The other thing too is I got Dorofeyev in the Babber draft. So
you're just like trying to cling that he scores another 10 goals in 7 games and somehow propels you back to the top of the table here.
I'm in 6th spot.
Are you really?
If I can just pass
he's just your last player?
No, Mark Stone too.
Okay, well, Kev, you have an outside. You know how many points back you are though of first?
Too many, because I just can't catch the people that
they're also
they got the Vegas goalies or whatever, and they just can't catch them. But I think I just want to catch you, Duke.
Yeah, so I'm still T2.
I know, but not for long.
Probably not.
Not for long, Duke.
Yeah, Jarvis, a great choice. I think you probably could have went with any member of the Hurricanes top line, because when you look at their production as a top unit and the ice time that they chew up compared to that Hall, Stankoven, and Blake trio, it hasn't been good enough, quite frankly. And they do other things really well. We know how valuable Aho and Jarvis are on the penalty kill and things like that, but the power play needs to be better, and those 3 guys could take a big step forward in helping that be the case. Just 8, 7, and 7 points respectively for Jarvis, Aho, and Svechnikov. And we're talking about, in the case of Aho and Jarvis, yes, a lot of special team minutes, like 21 and 20 minutes a night on average. Compare that to Blake, Stankoven, and Hall. None of them, like Blake plays the most because I think he kills penalties too, right? He plays 18, 15. The other 2 are just over 16 minutes a night. So they're doing more with less, and that top line needs to get firing. I'll go with the most veteran, the most leader, or biggest leader, and the best player on the Hurricanes team in Aho to be that guy.
Nothing wrong with it either.
Yeah. And I almost kind of thought about going Slavin here as well for Carolina, because he's been like, him and Miller have been outstanding, but Miller's been the best defenseman, and he's had a little bit more. Slavin just 2 points, and that's not his bread and butter, but still just 2 points so far in these playoffs. Looking forward to it, and that's we'll stick with it for question number 2, which is our predictions for the series. 20th anniversary. It's going to be a dual celebration of the second cup in history, along with the 20th year mark for the Caniacs down in North Carolina, as the Cup will be back in Raleigh, this time in 6 games.
I'm going to go in on this one. I'm going to take Carolina too, Duke. I'm not sure if it's going to be 6 games. Maybe like Frank had 7. I think it's going to be a tough series. I think it's going to be one of those where at the end of it, you're going to go, it could go either way, and it's going to come down to a couple of moments. But I think just with the Taylor Hall thing for me, to see him win a Stanley Cup over a Vegas organization that people aren't happy with all the time. So, I mean, the Rod Brindamore angle there is pretty neat. Stahl. There are a lot more positive storylines, I think, when you think about Carolina compared to Vegas. So, I'm going to be in on this one, and I'm not rooting for Carolina, but if they win, I'd be happier if they won than over Vegas.
Okay. I think I can see where you're coming from
I think
there.
a lot of people probably
from an odds perspective, it is pretty close. Carolina currently minus 150 to win the series, putting Vegas at plus 125. So if you are searching for some plus signs, there is a decent value in Vegas. I do believe it to be a tight series, but I think that I'd love to see the Hurricanes win it on home ice, because that is a pretty rocking building when it really gets going.
Yeah.
But last time, I mean, we saw Vegas win the Cup, of course, in 2023, but their time previous, their first trip to the Cup final, Washington won on the road, and we saw some pretty fun party photos, videos, and stuff from in Las Vegas that night. So maybe I'm hoping for a little history repeating itself on that front for us as viewers, fans of the game.
You know, there's one player that was drafted by the other team that's playing in this series.
One player that was drafted by the other team is playing in this series.
Player that's playing for one of the teams was drafted by the other team.
It's not Coughlin, is it?
No, it was, to be honest with you, it was in the Connor McDavid draft.
The Connor McDavid draft.
2015, I believe.
I'm quickly just buzzing down the depth charts, and nothing's jumping out at me.
Noah Hannafin, I think.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Of course. Yeah. That was easier than I should have been.
Yeah. Played 3 years before he was traded to Calgary, and then obviously to Vegas.
In the Dougie Hamilton trade.
Dougie!
Over to the hardwood. NBA Finals tip-off tomorrow. We'll save our predictions for then. I'm sure Schlemmer will be pumped to have an NBA prediction question in or out on a Wednesday. But let's talk about some of the X factors, doubling back on this, Kevin, for this series. The Knicks are underdogs, decently sized dogs for boiling down to one series here. Their X factor, if for them to win, the player that needs to maintain, step up, depending how you look at it, it's their defensive specialist and a guy that can still help offensively too, unlike Robinson, no offense. But I'm saying it's OG Anunoby is going to be the premier guy for the Knicks in this series.
Oh, man. I see Josh Fenwick giving the thumbs up already, so that means I'm going to go against it. I'm going to go Karl Anthony Towns.
Damn, Kev, you and I was this close to having him as this pick too. But I did Cat's not a defender.
I get it. But it's going to be an interesting, head to head, if you want to call it that, with Wemby. So that's just to disagree with you for one of these so far.
One of the questions. Yeah, we've been two in line.
Yeah.
I was kind of right there with you, because Cat, he it's so funny watching him play. His inconsistency is baffling at times, because he is so skilled and he is so big. And it seems like there's times that he forgets that, how big he is, and he plays smaller than he is. And I don't know if he's the same physical presence that a guy like Wemby or
I don't know,
maybe even Chet to an extent is, but he can be, he should be, and he can affect the game from the outside too. There's 3 shooting, but I just think it's going to boil down to like OG, probably help from Josh Hart, and then Mitchell Robinson, who is kind of their defensive specialist, pretty much useless offensively, and he's hurt to try and seal up Wemby a little bit and force the other players in the Spurs to try and win this series for them. So I said I'm still not quite set. It seems obvious that the Knicks or the Spurs, are going to win this. But there's just something about this Knicks team that kind of has me rooting for him a little bit.
Yeah,
here.
That's what I'm rooting for him too.
Yeah,
I'm rooting the Knicks for more of the Knicks than say Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. In the NFL, we saw a pair of blockbuster trades yesterday happening not long after you guys wrapped up the show, so probably didn't get a chance to touch on it at all. In a genuine evaluation of both star player acquisitions, A.J. Brown to the Patriots, Myles Garrett to the Rams. I'm sorry. I think that the Pats actually made out better here in the big picture than what LA did.
So, like, even you're looking at what the return was? Or
that. And it's funny when you like our chat with Jarrett Bell talking about this is a good get for LA. Obviously, he's maybe the best defensive player in the entire NFL. No doubt. Helps them. This little window with Matt Stafford, it all lines up. They pay a big price.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is that it's still not the price that the Cowboys got for Micah Parsons.
2 first-rounders, yeah.
And Kenny Clark, I don't think is Jared Verse, and Verse is that much younger.
I like Verse, though.
I really do, and that's kind of my thing here. Is I can appreciate where the Rams are coming from. They're all in, chips on the table to win now, next year, right? While you still have Matt Stafford playing at this level, but I thought Jared Verse had done enough to really earn a little bit of more runway here to try to ascend to that level, or at least close to it, along with the rest of this kind of young Rams defense. But they bring in McDuffie. They now bring in Garrett and ship out Nurse. They're turning over to veterans more so to try and take advantage of this window.
Win now mode, right? For sure. I'm probably going to go out on this one. And I just think when you got a guy like Garrett that's going to be that good and the defensive player of the year, I did look at the one stat, Duke, of under Josh McDaniel getting a first-year receiver. Like all the guys that he's had as defensive coordinator,
while he's
guys like Randy Moss.
Yeah.
And the list is on and on and on. The very first year, and I mean, A.J. Brown had to his standards, not a good year last year. But the first-year player going under Josh McDaniel as a wideout, and it's Moss, it's Welker, it's all these guys, their numbers are off the charts.
Yeah.
Absolutely off the charts. So I did take that into advantage. But when you look at what the Rams offense has right now, and it's very balanced. The running game is good, and they've got some great receivers, obviously. And they've got a veteran quarterback that can still get it done. This is a piece to the puzzle on defense. When you're adding the best defensive player in the league, I think that's a little higher than what A.J. Brown's ceiling is, I guess.
And I'm all in on that. Like, they're obviously getting the better player. Full stop. Brown, good. No doubt, and he's going to be the number one receiver, and I think he still has the ability to be a number one receiver on a quality team. I kind of think the Patriots will step back a little bit this season from the domination, and it was, all the talk about how weak the schedule was, yada, yada, yada. But it is a big price to pay. You are mortgaging even more of your future, which you've shown a willingness to do essentially in the entirety of the Sean McVay era. Yeah, and Cleveland, they recoup a little bit. This was kind of financially forced because of the Deshaun Watson situation. All these factor in. I like the move for the Pats. I really do. I think it's a great get for a first round pick that's still a couple years down the line.
Triple C says A.J. Brown had more receiving yards last year than the year that they won the Super Bowl.
But it's almost like the year they won the Super Bowl, he was more bought in still. Where last year we saw so much more of the visible frustration and discontent or malcontent, maybe a better way to put it, starting to show through.
And look at Saquon's year, man.
100%. The Eagles' offense was super stale. Like with Kevin Patullo, did not work as the OC. They're going to get a fresh look there this season. So I expect the Eagles to be better than we saw them this past season for sure. Even without A.J. Brown, they draft Mekhi Lemon to try and bridge that gap. Finally, enduring a few consecutive days of pretty heavy rain and constant, it hasn't really let up, at least when I've been, from Friday night, I guess it was, and then let up Saturday before returning and been steady since then. Kevin, my drive back to the city yesterday was one of the most unpleasant that I have endured in recent memory. So on Highway 2, there's 4 different set of construction that slow you down, and between the construction, like it's raining. It's still the daytime. It's dark because of how heavy the clouds are. It's not like you can't see the roads. You want to drive with caution, no doubt. That doesn't mean you need to drive like 90, even 100 on the QE2. And it was everywhere. And then I get here into the city, and the construction on the Henday was backed way up here on the southwest leg. people driving slow there. And then there was an accident of some capacity right before the bridge on the Southwest Lake here.
Yep.
And everyone's moving. I'm in the left lane, need to move over. And I'm down. Like I'm driving like 15 kilometers an hour as I come up past the tow truck and stuff. Driving slowly. Like I have consideration for these guys when they're trying to do their job. The tow truck driver, whoever is like setting these pylons out, essentially flips me the bird. I was like, what do you want me to do? Come to a dead stop and get out and help you? So anyway, that's my rain qualm here for a Tuesday morning. I actually like the rain, you know, a literal and figurative dampening of spirits if everyone taking it in sports, but it's been great. It was dry. Crops needed it. Grass needed it. All these things. The cold is not quite as conducive to those things helping out. But I think the most underrated positive element of a rain dump like this is the natural cleaning that it provides across the city. Like in your parking lots, right? Everything's just covered in dust and it's gritty and residue. And when you get a few days of heavy rain like this, it just flushes it all away. Flushes it.
No, I mean, and especially like, man, we've been on the city a bit here today, Duke. But like, you know, when they bring the street cleaners out.
Yeah.
And they really.
So pointless.
Well, they'll run them like along the curb and then still leave a whole bunch of crap behind.
Yeah.
You know, and then so a rain like we got in the last 2 days will wash everything to the sewers, which is cool. But I'm also going to be a little bit out because it's as my old neighbor Alec used to say, that was $1 million rain. I think everything was so dry between gardens and, as you say, grass. And it's really going to, not that it wasn't green before, but it's really going to green things up. Now the thing is, Duke, we're in June where and I don't have to tell you, the farmers, I mean, now we got to get a little bit of heat here. And I mean, you hate to bitch.
Oh, after this, it's always the thing, right? When it's not raining, you want it to rain. When it's raining too much, you say, let's get the sun back out. That's the nature of
like
gardening, farming, though, right? All these. Oh, the heat for sure. You got to get a little boost here.
Yeah, and I don't see like 20 degrees in the forecast for an awful long time.
Yeah, that can change in
a
change in a heartbeat.
Not on Environment Canada website, Duke.
Well, the most trusted source in the eyes of Kevin Karius.
Hey,
and Dean Thorpe.
Yeah, Dean Thorpe too. Come on, CFCW.
And it is really. This is just another little thing. I think this is more pertinent when you live outside of the city for a positive thing in the rain, like that post-rain smell that you get, and when it's a couple days and everything is so like ready to bloom when the sun does come back out and pop a little bit more. Friday night, leaving the Riverhawks game, we stayed for a few innings, my nephew and I. And I don't know if you know, Kev, right beside those kind of like grass parking lots they have across the street. So we walked past those up the hill towards the ledge where we were parked. There's some lilac bushes. And so after the fresh rain there and the lilac bushes were fully bloomed, that smell, it just it intoxicates you. So there's a nice little other positive to pull from the lousy weather we've had the past couple days.
Good stuff, Duke. That's In or Out, brought to you by Pro Solutions. Check them out at prosolutionsinc.ca for all your AC service needs. Top of the hour, we got Landon Ferraro, the former NHLer and our analyst on Sports 1440 during Oilers hockey season. Also, the con man, Connor Halley, to discuss a little NFL and a little bit of fantasy as well. Before that, time now for a Sports 1440 update. Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. Here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game one of this year's Stanley Cup final. Puck dropping tonight from Raleigh, North Carolina, between the Hurricanes and the Vegas Golden Knights. Carolina back in the final for the first time since winning the championship in 2006, and Vegas back. They, of course, winning in 2023. Puck drop scheduled for 6 o'clock Mountain Time. In the majors today, full slate, including the Blue Jays back at it as they head on the road to Atlanta, taking on the Braves. First pitch scheduled for 5:15. Kevin Gausman on the bump for Toronto. Bryce Elder countering for the Braves. You can catch that game right here on Sports 1440, joined in progress at the conclusion of the Jason Gregor Show. Elsewhere, Detroit and Tampa Bay. Boston hosting the Orioles. Yankees go up against Cleveland from the Bronx. Athletics play the Cubbies. Dodgers in Arizona. And the Mariners continue their set against the Mets from the Pacific Northwest. Roland Garros at the French Open. Quarterfinals this morning in men's singles. Alex Zverev defeating Rafael Jodardo advanced through, and still to come the final quarterfinal featuring Jakub Mensik up against Yoa Fonseca. In women's doubles earlier this morning, Canadian Gabby Dabrowski and her partner Luisa Stefani winning to advance through to the semifinals. Coming up in hour 4 of the Kevin Karius Show, we'll be joined by former NHLer Landon Ferraro as well as Connor Halley from Fantasy Frenzy. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Okay, new strategy. I'll just live in the freezer till October. It's spacious in here. It's spacious.
There's a better way to survive the coming AC season. Pro Solutions is your one-call-solves-it-all expert for AC repairs, tune-ups, and new installations. We offer convenient financing options and fast appointments so you can enjoy your entire home, not just the freezer.
Now I can leave the frozen peas where they belong.
Book now at prosolutionsinc.ca.
Are new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more? Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Hi, it's Jason McCoy. You know, music's given me a lot of great moments, but nothing means more than time with my dad. When he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, a simple PSA blood test was key in detecting it early, and we got more years, more laughs, and more memories. Guys, it's a quick test that just might end up saving your life.
Join the Princess Auto Motorcycle Ride for Dad in Edmonton, Saturday, June 13th. Register or donate at ridefordad.ca.
Stories, guests, and insights. This is Sports 1440 and the Kevin Karius Show.
All right, welcome back to the big program. 10:01 in Edmonton, just awaiting Landon Ferraro. We got Landon in the room, and time now for the Puck Report, brought to you by Fountain Tire. And at Fountain Tire, when we say we're on this road together, we mean it. From tires, wheels, oil changes to vehicle repairs, visit fountaintire.com to find out more. As we welcome in the former NHLer and our analyst here on Sports 1440 during Oilers games, Landon Ferraro. Good morning, Landon. You're with Kevin Karius. Thanks for jumping on Sports 1440 this morning. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me. It's been a minute.
It's been a while, probably since the Oilers season ended. But here we got game number 1 of the Stanley Cup final tonight. When you look at these two teams, how do you bust it down, Landon? Who's got a little bit of an edge for you in your mind?
I mean, looking at the teams, I feel like it's Vegas's. They have the edge. The goalie's going. Their D's really good, and they have their 4 lines. They roll, and then they of course have their top line, and Marner's doing unreal. Eichel's been able to do whatever job's needed on that night. It's been phenomenal. But now saying all that, I think it's the Canes' time. They finally got through that conference final, And not to say they're this crazy underdog, because they're not at all, obviously, but the way that they have the smaller players, but man, they're dogs. Like they get in, the only way they can play is being on the inside. I'm talking Jackson Blake and Stankoven, guys like that, even Ehlers thrown into that mix. Like they're so fun to watch because, they're a big part of their offense, but you imagine them getting pushed to the outside all the time, yet their whole game is inside the dots and getting inside of it. And then all of a sudden, then you have a guy like Stahl jump over that is just this massive human getting in on a forecheck. I think we're in for a really good, like hard-hitting, more old-school feel of a final than what a lot of this playoffs has been so far.
There's been a lot of talk about how both teams play, their style of play, Landon, and more zone for Vegas, more man-to-man defensively for Carolina. How do you think that plays out? What are we going to see? What are we going to notice with those two styles of play?
Well, I mean, if we're talking Vegas and the way that they play their defensive zone, like you said, more of a zone, the way that Carolina's attack and how much they love playing down below the hash marks, especially getting closer to the net. Zone's great, but you can get outnumbered pretty quick. And if you're good at making those quick 2-on-1s and you find the triangle of that defenseman, you can take advantage of that pretty good. Now, in saying that, it seems like every Vegas defenseman's about 6'12", so they cover a lot of space back there, and they're strong. So for Carolina, it's about popping in and out of those lanes as quick as they can and taking advantage of big guys that they can't pivot quite as quick. So that way, but when you start looking at now Carolina's end and playing more man on man, like that's great in a lot of ways when you're playing a team that likes to forecheck and play heavy below, because it doesn't matter as much. You're on top of your guy, but at the same time, Vegas's top end can make plays. Vegas's bottom end right now seems to be able to make some plays from below the goal line as well. So as soon as you beat someone, well, now you've got someone outnumbered. So there's different parts to it. For man on man, it's all about the end process or the ending of it, because you've got to beat someone somewhere. For the zone, it's more taking advantage of confusion on the lines of where those breaks are. If I'm the right winger, I'm not going to be running all the way into the left corner or going all the way to the short side of the net. So you take advantage of it that way.
Landon Ferraro with us on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. A lot's been made, too, about that Carolina second line, and you mentioned two of them in Blake and Stankoven. Taylor Hall's fit in nicely there. We know all about him from his time here in Edmonton, but what is it about when those three guys were thrown together that they really feed off one another?
Well, I think it's the competitiveness first, right? And especially, not saying Taylor Hall's not a competitive guy. We all know he's extremely competitive, and it's been really fun watching his career kind of jump back up again since getting to Carolina. But when you look at Stankoven, you look at Blake, you have two younger guys that, even though they've signed their big deals now, like, to me, they're still proving themselves in the league. And I'm not saying they got to prove themselves to me. They're proving themselves to themselves and want to see how high they can take their game. And then you put a Hall in there that, has had a lot of success in his career, and he's had some really lean years in there as well. And for a guy that's been an MVP in the league, he's forgotten about a lot. And then he gets to Carolina, and that style of play and how they rush attack and how they play, like, he's fit in extremely well there. And he's playing with those two that both can skate, but he's got a bit more of the size, and he's brought the physicality. And it's funny how a guy that's not known for his physicality, you start throwing it a little bit, it opens up space for your line mates, and then before you know it, the points start to come too. And it makes it that much easier for him.
When you look at special teams, and don't have to tell you that that's a lot of the times things come down to that, but Carolina's penalty kill is, as good as it gets. They're at a 92.5%, but the power play for Vegas is up there too. What bends here, and does something break?
Like, that's where the like the Carolina penalty kill, to me, one of the reasons it's as good as it is it doesn't feel any different than 5-on-5. They just have one less guy. They're still pressuring as hard as they can. They eat pucks all over the ice. Like every player does. It's a non-negotiable under Brendan Moore, and it's not. The difference is you hear that about other teams, and you can see some guys going to block shots, and you're like, that guy has no interest in being in that lane. He's just kind of doing it because he has to. I don't get that feel off of players in Carolina. Even the skill guys, they're laying out for it. They'll do anything for it. I think the way that they pressure, it's going to be really tough for Vegas. But in saying that, it's one of those situations that it's going to feel, or it might feel like they can't get set up, they can't get anything done or a play to the net, but they make one solid play that beats that PK, and it's in the back of the net. Yeah. So to me, I think it's going to feel like they've got nothing, Vegas got nothing rolling, and then they'll pop one or two here or there anyway.
What is it about the Carolina power play that it's not clicking right now? What have you seen there? Because, they've got a lot of really good players that have some talent, but is it just one of those stretches where they're not having success when it comes to, the end goal and the end result, and that's putting the puck in the back of the net?
I mean, it's definitely a little bit of that, but I also think that, there's always the talk of Carolina of like, they're such an amazing team, but they don't have like that star that can, when they need a play to be made on the power play, that you just know it's coming. They've gotten so much closer to that, especially with the signing of Ehlers, but their guys progressing at their level. I still think at certain points, like they need someone on that unit that's a bit more selfish and is going to hold the puck and make the play, right? Like they move it around pretty well, but when power plays start to struggle, things move around well, but it's around the outside, and they find it's tough to get back to the guts a bit more. I just think they need someone that's going to be able to, even if it's a Jarvis, he's got to find a way to get himself a bit more involved.
Yep.
But, being able to come in and take that shot, like put some more paint or rubber at Carter Hart, make him make the first saves, and let the big boys in front whack in a rebound.
Landon Ferrara with us on the Kevin Karius Show on Sports 1440. Do you think there is an edge in goal? One of these guys is Hart playing a little better than Anderson right now. Anderson's obviously got the Claude Lemieux thing going, which is an inspirational thing where he can maybe draw off of. How do you see the goaltending breakdown here between these two guys?
I mean, you're right. Like they've both been playing really well. I mean, Freddie Anderson, it's not like he's had to stop a ton of pucks over the last week or so here. But in saying that, he stopped them when he had to. And I don't know about you, but the discussion of Freddie Anderson's never been, is he good enough? It's, can he stay healthy enough to be able to be in a rhythm, to be good? Because when he is, man, he's a solid goalie. I think it's, as much as it's going to be on, I think the whole series is going to be on goaltending, really. Like, it's what in front of them, how much they give up, because I think whoever wins this series is going to be able, it's going to be the team that can stick to their style better, right? And I know that's basically every year, but when you have two teams that they play different, but they're forecheck, they're heavy four-line teams, who's going to be able to stick to that, and who's going to have to try and find or get pushed off their path a little bit and try and cheat offensively and move away? Because when a team's going to get down, call it 2-1 in games, that pressure is going to mount pretty good.
Yeah. Landon Ferrara with us on Sports 1440 with all the time and the broadcast that you've been doing here with the Vancouver Canucks and the Canucks naming Manny Malhotra their new head coach. I think this was really a no-brainer, and it just seems like a seamless transition for him to come up from Abbotsford. Just your thoughts on the guy that they hope can turn things around here and help them lead them back to where they were a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, the only surprising thing in Vancouver right now is that it took about a week longer than everyone expected, right? Like, I don't, this is only my second year full-time in media, and it's the reason I say that is I haven't been a part of a ton of new coaching hirings and firings, but in saying that, we've been talking about Manny like he's been hired for 2 years as a head coach already here in this market. He's extremely well liked by his players. He communicates well. He holds them accountable, but he's got that youthful player still in him, much like Marty St. Louis. Like the way that he interacts with his players on the ice, it's not just writing on the whiteboard. He's gonna show it to them. He's going to work with them, and that type of excitement with a rebuilding team that's just starting out, I think, is hugely massive. Now you're looking at the Sedins, Johnson, and Malhotra as leaders of your team, and as for a team that's talked a lot about bad culture, well, this is a pretty good start to changing that.
How do they navigate the possibility of Caleb Malhotra being available at 3, and do they take him? Do they go, well, maybe, it's not the route that we want to go? How would you navigate that anyway?
Yeah, I mean, they seem pretty comfortable with the idea of if he's there, like they really like him. If he's sitting there at 3, they're going to have a tough time not taking him, and they don't see it being a problem. I mean, I don't know Caleb. I know Manny pretty well. They might be able to handle that and not have it affect them. At the same time, it's such a tough situation of, if you're Manny, do you want your kid to be put into that situation? He's just worked his entire life to have this opportunity, the NHL, and you're going to drive to work with dad in the back seat again. Like it's not the most, I wouldn't have been thrilled about it. Let me put it that way. But maybe they're a lot more mature than what me and my dad are, and they can actually work past that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like when was the last year that, did Ray coach you when you were how old or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, he did most of my summer skates all the way up till I was basically drafted around that time. But I mean, even then, I grew up with Craig Cunningham. He was a pro player as well. He's a scout for Vegas now. And basically, my dad would have to yell at him to get the message to me because we figured out quick that wasn't going to work.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting dynamic. Maybe, I'm trying to think some of the more recent. I mean, I think when Adam Lowry, Dave Lowry took over, right?
Like Lowry, that didn't go great, I would say. Brett Sutter played for his dad, Daryl, but that's a very different thing. He ran the American League captaincy in Ontario forever. And then you're basically back to like the Sutters.
Yeah.
And that's a little different.
There was there was a one gamer, and it was Rod Brindamore and his son Skyler.
Oh, yeah.
Called up for the one game, scored a goal, I think, too. So
not bad.
Yeah, exactly. So you didn't want to let the old man down for sure. Hey, Landon, what's the summer looking like for you here?
I got about another week and a half of not much going on. I just get to watch the finals here and enjoy it a bit. And then I start my on-ice training stuff that we go all the way from 10-year-olds up to college and pro guys. And it's a ton of fun. So kind of bouncing between age ranges and skills. It keeps you on your toes. But, yeah, we do about 30 to 35 hours a week on ice. And
cool.
It's a lot of fun.
Where's that at?
We do it out of Langley, actually. Me and his guy Tyler Kuntz that I coached with a few times in the past, and we do it out of Langley Sportplex here in Vancouver. It's a ton of fun.
Oh, I bet. Is there a certain age group that you enjoy working with more than others?
No, honestly, it was the first. I'll say this: last summer was the first time that I worked with younger kids, 10-year-olds, both boys and girls. It's so funny how if you have to do 5 of them in a row, oh man, that's a lot to ask for. But it's really fun how we have it scheduled. Like I'll be on the ice with 12-year-old boy and girls running them through skill stuff, and then I'll have 4 college guys, a couple dub, and a couple American League guys on that very next hour. So I've got to flip my brain and got to get to their level again off of having a ton of fun. But to answer your question, I love doing both because it doesn't keep you so intense in one way or just being silly with the younger people as well.
Yeah. And I assume that when you, as you say, when you work with the college players, the maturity and their goals and what they want, they've kind of half-assed figured out, I guess, a little bit.
Well, then honestly, like that's where like working with the, we'll call it the 15 to 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds is generally the best because they know they don't know everything yet, and they're really eager to learn and push for that. Like they have everything in front of them, right? So when you talk to them and you're giving them a little pointer, like, man, they're locked in eye to eye with you, and you can see them trying to put it in and put it into practice. And every coach, anyone that's done any type of coaching, whether high performance or all the way down to T-ball, whatever it is, like you see a kid figure something out that you've been helping them with, it's a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah, that process, once they can process that information that you're trying to give them, and it's rewarding not just for the player, but maybe more so for the coach. Is that fair to say?
Oh, for sure. It's just the only thing that kind of punts me back down is all of them are so much bigger now. Like you're working with D-men that can walk the line and move unbelievable, but he's 6'6".
Yeah.
Like, how is this fair?
Exactly. Well, good luck with those camps, and I'm sure we'll talk at some point during the summer. Take care, and as always, thanks for coming on, Landon.
Yeah, have a great one.
Yeah, that's Landon Ferraro, the former NHLer, and our analyst here on Sports 1440 as well during Oiler games with Andrew Walker. That's the Puck Report brought to you by Fountain Tire. Check them out at fountaintire.com today and book your appointment. When we come back, the con man, Connor Halley on the Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne. Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Cheers. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth, fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
If you've got a smart speaker, get it to play Sports 1440.
And it doesn't matter when you listen as we roll out the Sports Talk
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Edmonton's home for sports radio is Sports 1440.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
At Wendy's, get a 10-piece nugget small combo for just $8.99. That's right, $8.99 for 100% Canadian chicken, plus fries and a drink. That's just good nuggenomics. Only until June 14th. In restaurant at participating Wendy's locations. Taxes extra.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and this is the time of the year most RV stores wish their lot was full. At the new RV stores, product is trickling in, mostly just for taking orders. But having an RV on order doesn't mean much when the weather's great for camping today.
No Bull has hundreds of quality used RVs on the lot now. Right, Rick?
That's right, Bob. Walk into No Bull RV today and you could be in the great outdoors next weekend. No waiting, no hoping it'll be here by summer, just the perfect used trailer, motorhome, fifth wheel, or toy hauler that you need.
And every RV at No Bull is one of a kind.
Every family is one of a kind too, Bob. Think we can't find the perfect one for you? Take a look around. At No Bull, you'll save thousands compared to the cost of a new RV. You can build your summer plan on hope, or you can know for sure. And ask about our Camp Ready service plan when you're here to make this the best summer yet.
And that's No Bull. NoBullRV.ca.
Have your sports curiosity cured with the Kevin Karius Show. This is Sports 1440.
Welcome back to the big program, 1022 in Edmonton. That means on a Tuesday, the con man, Connor Halley from Fantasy Frenzy, Jason Greger Show, joins us. Good morning, Con man. I just got one question.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's a broken stick. Like, listen
Oh,
to
yeah.
like your commercial. It's just,
Yeah.
like it's probably one of the top commercials we run here on Sports 14. Oh, no, it's a broken stick.
My play-by-play
was
debut.
good. It was great.
One take it took.
I was very impressed.
Could you tell?
We heard it this morning, and well, I've heard it many times before.
Yeah.
but
Did you know it was me?
I knew right away it was you.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking, I was picturing you in the booth over there.
When they're desperate, I get the call.
Yeah,
and I don't get paid to do it. I just go
we
do
never,
it.
We
So
never do we?
that's the effort they get. But yeah, it was. I thought, okay, I'm gonna go and read a little liner like, oh, go check out McDonald's this weekend, and he's like, so I need a play-by-play guy, and I immediately wanted to walk out. Like, I don't like doing that sort of thing, but
no, it sounded good. Like I thought it was good tempo and everything.
do it for the company.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really good tempo. Man, we've been talking about game one of the Stanley Cup final tonight. It's 20 years ago when Raleigh last hosted a Stanley Cup final. Of course, it was the Oilers back then.
100%.
And it's actually, I've been thinking about it the last couple of days just because that was it was a big deal back in 2006 because we were coming out of the lockout. Calgary had lost in the final year prior, and no one expected the Oilers to get to where they were because they only locked up a playoff spot in like game 80.
I remember. It was I think Vancouver beat the Ducks or something like one of those sort of things. I was at a bar downtown, Woolly Bullies, after the Oilers won. We went out to have a few drinks afterwards, and we watched them clinch with another result. So yeah, I remember that fondly. I was 18, 19 years old, and that run was a very good time.
I was lucky enough. I did more games that year when I was doing Oilers radio as the fill-in color analyst with Rod Phillips. So I did more games that year in 06 than any other year. So ended up to get fairly close to the team. Most of the games were on the road, so I traveled with the team at all times. So, you just think that, like Alish Hemsky was still a young guy. He was only a couple years into the league, but he led the team in scoring. They never had a point per game guy on the team. Hemmer was the highest. I think Hemmer was at 77 points in 81 games. So they never had a point per game guy that played, up into that level. So
I wasn't used to a point per game guy in my youth, like Doug Waite, and I think that was it for a long time.
Yeah, Doug Waite would have been there for sure, but you're right. There was that period of time where there were no point per game guys.
Now McDavid does it in 50 games.
Yeah,
clinches the point per game.
He's 100 points easy. Fernando Pisani had the 14 goals in the playoffs. Chris Pronger was the two things I'll remember. The last game when that empty netter went in, Justin Williams. Chris Pronger, they won the faceoff. There's about a minute left. They won the faceoff and everything's just fine. But someone pressured Pronger at the point. And he coughed the puck up, and next thing you know, it was in the back of their net. But when Pronger got to the bench and Charlie Huddy was there, and you could see Charlie goes what happened? What And I don't think Pronger was that guy. He goes, you're not going to come force me. Why are you going to come out and force me? Because I'm going to make you look foolish. And whoever that was, it could have been Williams. I can't even remember. But
got him.
That got him. Yeah.
I don't remember anything from game 7.
Yeah.
I've said that before. I
blacked out.
I don't recall anything. It was so close. And, I was at game 6 in Edmonton.
Yeah.
So the vibes were so high. The momentum's there. They're going to carry over. And I guess similar to game 7 against the Panthers a couple of years ago, it just wasn't meant to be.
Well, that must have been pretty cool for you to be at game 6.
Yeah. I went to game 6 against the Red Wings when they eliminated them. I was at the game against the Ducks. I want to say game 4.
Wow.
So I think the Ducks won game 3. And then, game 6 against.
How'd you get tickets? How did that work?
Shout out to my cousin, Sean.
Oh, really?
He worked with the team.
Which Sean?
Price.
Oh, Sean Price.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So I remember because I was out of high school and I was working at Save-On and got the phone call. Hey, Connor line 1. And it was my mom hey, Sean got tickets. You want to go? Yep. So I talked to my buddy. You're driving. He's and I said, you're driving. You're buying some beers too. And I went to that one. It was standing room only. So as soon as there was a goal scored, couldn't see a thing because everyone in front of us stood up.
So what part were you standing? Where?
Oh, it would have been behind the net.
Okay.
Behind
Is there sort of where the wheelchair accessibility?
No, because they were lower level, right? We were top of the rink. So where you would walk behind if you were
don't know, going to meet someone.
Well, even on the catwalk then. So yeah, when you walk around the catwalk, it was probably right behind that.
I think it was below that. It was like as high as you could go up behind the net.
Yeah.
And it was it was kind of nice because you could lean. You had the rail, so you could put your beers lined up there. And yeah, it was.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah, it's been a while. Like you think about, it's almost 10 years already. For Rogers.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. Like I was, I'm sure everyone has their own unique story, but for us getting to be there, and then when a goal was scored, you just had the bird's eye view of the crowd going crazy. It was such a unique view, and we were leaving the game, high fiving the strangers. Like, kind of miss it this year.
Way louder too than what Rogers has. Well, it's just the way the building was smaller.
Yeah, different
acoustics. Yeah.
Less concerned about maybe seating there and all that sort of thing, but suites. But no, that was it was a great tournament. Like Pekka was phenomenal. Had some big moments. Pisani, of course. I'll never forget Steve Stales for coming out of the penalty box after the winner in game. Was it 5?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shorthanded goal.
Shorthanded goal. Yeah.
Yeah, because Steve was in the penalty box. Yeah.
Took the penalty. We thought it was over. We had a big reaction. My friend's mom came downstairs. Did they win? We're like, no. Like, Stales took a penalty. We were kind of rude to her. So then when Pisani scored, of course, we had to go apologize and make it right.
Yeah. For me, so on game 4, the morning of game 4, as I said, I was I was just getting into my vehicle actually to go down to the morning skate, and I got a call. My dad passed away.
Oh.
On the morning of game 4. So back, like you think, all of a sudden, I never even thought about the Oilers. Like, bang. I was on a flight. I was in Saskatchewan within 3 hours. And I got there, and then we ended up watching. We had a do for him at the Legion. And it was hot, but everyone came into the Legion. We brought in these TVs, and that's when Fernando scored that game.
Oh, really?
So in game 5.
Yeah.
So it was a neat thing. That's something I'll always remember for sure. But, I think about even guys like Marty Reisner on that team. So he was traded for Samsonov. And Marty, I think Kevin Lowe, even still to this day, says it's one of the hardest trades you had to make because Marty was such a team guy and everyone loved him. Like all those guys between Steve Stales and Marty and Ethan Morrow, and everyone was such a tight group.
Yeah.
So
I remember the early online forums, like the Marty Reisner fan club. Like people loved him.
Oh,
maybe not everyone, but the people who did really loved him.
He was just a funny guy, a real funny guy that, they always talk about glue guys. He was the guy that in the room that kept everything, one of those, just on an even keel. And then if something funny needed to be said or whatever, Marty was kind of one of those guys.
Good trade though.
Yeah.
Samsonov was good.
Samsonov.
Tarnstrom was good. Who else did they bring in? Spacek was good.
Yeah, Yaro Spacek came in, Samsonov. Those would have been the main guys. And, Pekka was signed in the offseason, right?
Yeah.
With Pronger.
And then kind of a slow season, if I recall correctly.
He only had 9 goals.
Yeah, ramped it up in the postseason.
He had 6 goals in the playoffs. He only had 9 goals, 23 points. He always, whenever you saw him, he looked so gaunt.
Yeah.
He looked like he was on a hunger strike, Bex.
I don't know. Maybe you can confirm. I heard he was living out by the airport in a hotel.
I don't know that.
That's what I had heard. Like there wasn't too much desire maybe to be in Edmonton.
I don't know.
Like, I'm here, but I'm not here for a long time.
Yeah, no kidding.
Kind of how it played out. But
hey, what do you think of all those trades? Well, the 2 big trades in the NFL yesterday, man.
I love them. Yeah. I love them. And for the Browns, like give me Jared Verse and a first over 2 first-round picks that the Raiders would have got for Crosby. Like you get a guy who's on the upswing, and I don't think too many teams could match that. A 2-time Pro Bowler. He's got a lot of potential now to go and be that guy. He's not Myles Garrett, but he's got 2 more years before you can even re-sign him. So he's locked up there. He's cheaper. The first round pick is probably going to be 25 to 32. Let's be honest. And it's probably closer to 32. I think the Rams have built up a pretty good team there, but I love it for the Rams as well. And now you got people talking about Aaron Donald potentially coming back, which is crazy to me. Like if he shows up, 34 maybe. Like, he's not that old, so he's probably got a few good reps if he were to come back. I think they have like 20 million in cap space too, so you could bring him in on probably a pretty friendly team deal. And then the Patriots one, it's just not a surprise at all. We all knew it was coming. It was just how much is it going to be. I'm a little intrigued because it's a 2028 first round pick. We've heard a lot of people, and this is kind of the story every year, but 2027 is supposed to be a really good draft, so maybe the Patriots didn't want to part ways with that pick. And a 5th. I love it. And you wait till June 1st, changes things up with the cap dynamics and bonuses and all that sort of thing. I think you can at that point transfer the bonuses. So yeah, I think it's really cool to see. I wish my team was a little more eager like that. But teams making moves, and then you got Odell Beckham back in the NFL as well. So it's a crazy random day.
Well, we had Jared Bell on from USA Today in 9 o'clock hour, and he wasn't as happy about the trade from Brown's perspective as you are, because he was comparing the Micah Parsons deal with 2 first-rounders and Clark.
Well, that's fair. Parsons younger, which and things change. Obviously, the market today isn't what it was last year. I would agree. Like anytime you lose Myles Garrett, it's pretty tough. But he had previously mentioned a trade, and then they kind of paid him more money, and that quieted it for a little bit. His stock is at an all-time high, I would think, coming off a season where he broke the single-season sack record. So why not jump on it? If you couldn't find anything better, then you just take the best one you get. I think Jared Verse is a heck of a player.
I do too.
I think it's a really good move, and maybe I would have tried to get a few more picks out of them, but if that's all the Rams were offering, and this clears up a bunch of cap space, I love what the Browns have done the last few drafts. This doesn't help, and they still don't have a quarterback. But
don't you think? Do you think that Deshaun Watson is going to be their quarterback next year?
I don't. I have no idea. I have no idea. It'll be interesting. I mean, he hasn't played in a year and a half now, season and a half.
Yeah.
And when he did play, he didn't look that great. But they've got 2 good young running backs. They drafted 2 young receivers here. Had Harold Fannin. They let Njoku go, but Harold Fannin looked like he's going to be a pretty good player. Like, I kind of like what they're doing. This is a step back, of course, but heck, maybe 3-4 years, all of a sudden, these guys have developed their grown man strength, and maybe they are able to use that later pick and whatever pick they finish this year and trade up and go for a top pick at quarterback. I don't know. It's interesting.
You just mentioned Harold Fannin Jr., a fantasy question for you here. So, like, I picked him last year in the last round.
Yeah.
And we have that escalating.
Yeah.
So he would go to pick 15 as a keeper. I don't think I can keep him because I got other better keepers that are at better positions.
Yeah.
But I think I got to think about I could trade him and get something for him. And I don't know, not much, like maybe a 10th rounder or something. But
yeah,
like, what kind of season do you think he's going to have this year? Because I think he could be one of the next top producing tight ends moving forward here. Like, is he turned into a Mark Andrews who was off the radar for many years? And people drafted Mark Andrews round 14 when he first came in.
I mean, the knock on him is always going to be quarterback play, but I brought that up to a reporter or a fantasy writer last year, and it's kind of like, well, Malik Neighbors had a good season with his quarterback the rookie year. Like, they'll find these guys, get them the football. I think with a tight end like that.
Look at Trey
McBride.
I mean, what's he dealing with? And he was the top tight end by 100 points last year.
Even, Mark Andrews, when Lamar would get hurt, he was still producing. So we kind of talked about that. I think it was last week, and it was McBride and Bowers are your 1-2. But after that, I think it's a pretty wide open conversation. And if you're betting on upside, I think Harold Fannin deserves to be in that conversation. I would have him as top 5 just on what he could do. But I think there's a pretty good group there in the middle there. If you don't get McBride or Bowers, I think you have 5 or 6 guys who could potentially be in the same region for production.
And you can wait on those guys too.
Yeah, 100%.
Really wait on.
I feel that way about we talked about that with quarterback as well. Like, I think if you don't get the top tier Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, whoever else, somebody will say Jaden Daniels, you can wait till further down and still get like a Jared Goff or a Justin Herbert. Matthew Stafford might fall because people are afraid of his age. Like,
where do you think Dak Prescott goes? Is he like the 3rd or 4th best quarterback?
4th? 4 or 5, yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, they're going to throw the football. They're going to get CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens involved in the passing game for sure. And he throws the ball a ton. I think you can win your league with him for sure.
I do too, yeah. Like, I mean, I think he's a guy that I'm going to target in round 3 or 4 if I can.
I'm a big fan. On and off the field, I like that guy.
Yeah.
I won my league last year with Baker Mayfield. It wasn't the sexiest win by any means, but yeah, you can get the job done with those types of guys. You don't necessarily need Josh Allen.
Yeah, no kidding. Text 833-401-1440. A guy named Bacon says a buddy of mine named his dog Marty Reisner. Not bad with that.
It's a long name, but
Rockford said Yuri Dopita. Todd Harvey from Robert.
Todd Harvey was
a great team guy.
Rem Murray picked up late in that year too, right?
Jim. Stu Barnes says Samsonov scored that big goal against San Jose in Game 4, turned that series around. Well, and then, I mean, not only that, but I mean, Dwayne Rolison made about 100,000 saves in that series against San Jose.
Yeah, he was awesome.
There was, I think it was 3-1 in Game 4, and San Jose had, I don't know if they were shorthanded or a power play. Someone rang one off the iron, and it could have been Joe Thornton. And then if that goes in, that series is done. The Oilers are done because San Jose ain't losing. They're going back home for Game 5, and Oilers aren't beating them 3 straight like that.
That might have been a Saturday game where I had too many Molson Canadians and don't recall. I just Dwayne Rolison. I love the little things he would do, like shake his helmet off to get the guys like an extra 30 seconds of time to catch their breath on an ice. And just the little things. He was such a gamer.
Well, 2 quick stories with him. After several years later, not several, a couple, I was doing a game in New York, and he said, well, let's go out for a few beers. And we went out all night long.
Yeah.
And that guy had a hollow leg. He could pump him back, man. And I almost missed the bus to go to the airport the next morning. That's how bad.
That could have cost you.
Well, I don't know if it would have cost. Yeah, it would have cost me a flight home.
Yeah.
Because I would have had to find a flight. And so then the other time was during that run, when you were on the road and you would interview guys, because again, there wasn't that many media really, but I went up to him after and they had lost, and we were under the gun, we were under pressures for deadlines. And I said, have you got a second, Rolly? And he just looked at me and he goes, you know the effing rules, until I get all my pads off and stuff. And I'm like, okay. So then finally we had a quick, and it was like 5-second answers. And he was so mad. And then on the plane, he goes, hey, sorry about that. But
yeah,
but that's how he was a good guy for sure. What's coming up in Fantasy Frenzy here, Conman? And the Jason Gregor show, I guess. Pardon me.
Fantasy Frenzy.
I don't know, Duke's looking over there. Yeah, I know what the hell's going on. I never ask you what's going on I always say what's going on in the Gregor show. But
Fantasy Frenzy, we'll just take text, see what people want to talk about, open it up, maybe talk about Canada getting the job done against the Uzbeks last night in the rain. I didn't go.
Yeah.
It's too soft. Gregor show. We're trying to get the commish at the CFL on. But we'll also have TR, Dave McCarthy, Derek Van Dies, Speck, Cam Tate, 5 questions, all that sort of thing.
Well, Tater will probably be order number 35 still. He does the Cam and eggs, and I think he's just doing it to kind of get my goat. So he just keeps saying order number 35. I go, we got to be at 37 or 38 or 40. So I don't know.
That his twisted sense of humor.
He does have his sense of humor is off on another.
You should hear the pranks he wants to do to people.
Pranks like what?
Pranks. I can't even say them on air.
Well, those guys pranked him back in the day a lot.
He's got the list ready.
Yeah,
then.
he wants the payback right now. Have great shows as always. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
That's Connor Halleck, Fantasy Frenzy, and the Jason Gregor Show. Pat C. texts in, hey, Kevin, regarding Marty Reisner, not sure what year it was, but my favorite post-game interview of all time. Marty had gotten into a fight with a notorious tough guy. Morley Scott's only question, Marty, what were you doing out there? Do you remember that, Patsy? I don't really remember it, but it's ringing a bell that he got into a tussle with a tougher guy. I'm going to check on that. I will figure that out, and I'm going to get back to that after the break. It's Kevin Karius Show with the Duke of Delburne, Josh Fenwick on Sports 1440 AM radio. We're streaming on YouTube, X, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1, saving you money with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2, water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3, saving you more money with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
The Brick is thrilled to introduce the new exclusive Shaquille O'Neal home lineup of furniture. Each piece features premium Shaq-repeated memory foam for exceptional comfort. made to be lived in and loved for years. Each piece is built on a strong hardwood frame, offering sturdy comfort day after day. Head to any brick location and snap a photo with Shaquille O'Neal. A life-size shack is waiting in store. Scan the QR code and upload your pic for a chance to win one of 4 Shaquille O'Neal home pieces. Exclusively at the Brick, saving you more.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Fuel prices got you down? Subaru's here to pick you up. Subaru's electric and hybrid vehicles will save the day, helping you go further for less. Prefer a gas vehicle? Subaru Crosstrek and Impreza are built to keep costs low without sacrificing capability. Crosstrek was named 2025 Auto Trader Best Subcompact SUV, and Impreza has earned top safety pick recognition for 17 years running. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru. Visit Subaru.ca.
Sharing. It's simple. It's what we were raised to do. But somewhere along the line, the world got bigger, colder, and the idea of sharing got lost. But not its service. Because when you bank with us to reach your goals, we share our profits in cash, just for banking with us. For mortgages, investments, daily banking, and more, our profits circle back to you. Bank more, get more money back. Full Circle Banking, only at Surface Credit Union.
You're listening to Sports 1440 and watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Sports 24/7. We are Sports 1440.
All right, welcome back to the big program. It's a fitting song, seeing we're at 8 degrees right now, June the 2nd. We're just watching the start of the replay of the Canada-Uzbekistan international friendly. It last night at Commonwealth, and it was raining hard. Do you know, Duke, I believe that the entire roster of Uzbekistan, every player's last name ends in V. Most of them are OV.
Really?
Yeah, like Nemetov, Eshmerodov.
It's like the 72 Summit Series team.
Yeah. Petrov.
Yeah.
Well, Mikhailov.
You got all kinds of OVs.
Every one of them. I'm just looking at every one of them is ending in OV or EV. Isn't that something, Duke?
You familiar with Uzbekistan, Kev?
Well, we talked about it yesterday.
Oh, really?
Well, you missed this part. You would have loved it.
Oh, little geography lesson in the middle of the show, or what?
Yeah. Well, what happened was Eddie brought it up quick, and the only country I could think of that was like, but it's not even close, because I brought up Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Right.
But then when I did a little more research on it, I found out that, it is obviously it's south of Russia, but it's a little north of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And
It's Turkmenistan. It's the other border
right in there,
country.
But we talked about, we had a lot of people were giving us the gears yesterday, right, Josh? They were not too happy with it. But then we said, what's the capital of Uzbekistan? And no one knew what it was, Duke. And I thought if the Duke would be here, he would know what it is.
I believe the answer is Tashkent.
Come on now.
I don't know. Is that right? The four stands is Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan. I get those four mixed up sometimes, but I think, I'm pretty sure it's Tashkent.
Oh, that is ridiculous, Duke. Text 833-401-1440. Matt Leduc says, yes, the Uzbekistan team was pretty sure the weather was kind of OV. Montana Rice says, I wouldn't read any of my texts either, Kevin. You don't want to lose another bet to the great MTR, even though I donated my winnings to the needy, because he's talking about they're going to put old man Stafford in a body bag in Australia for the first game, San Fran and the Rams.
Yeah, MTR is very confident in the, well, for now, healthy Niners and what the defensive front can do against the Rams O-line. That's essentially his point here. There's some merit to an extent. I certainly think the Niners will. Well, but you keep saying, or every year we say, oh well, if they're healthy, and when they're healthy,
never are.
When they're healthy, they're good, but they never are.
No, MTR. I read your text.
It's the damn substation.
It is. That is true. And MTR is going to come back.
The science backs it up, Kev.
What did John Lynch say about it? Something to the fact that it's impossible.
Well, it's just that they've practiced there for however long, and it's my bigger concern, if I'm being very bluntly honest, is in this recent generation of Niners and man games lost, and the substantial nature of some of these injuries. Is like, what's your training program? Like, what's your staff?
Yeah,
right. Like, there has to be some sort of internal look and say, why do we? And maybe it's just because all their players that get hurt are their star players. Is it actually any different than any other team? How many torn ACLs that a regular team suffers, but it's just one star player and three backups? You know what I'm saying, Kev?
Yeah.
It's just a little more top of mind with the Niners because it seems every injury they suffer is one of the best in the league at their respective position, and certainly a big piece of their team's success. I'd be curious to dive into that a little bit more.
I'd like to do a little side bet with MTR on that first game of the year. It's on, September the 10th? What do you think, Duke? I'm not scared of MTR on a bet like this.
Are we a little too far out here? Are you ready to, are we betting on, what's the Niners record again this season?
No. I don't even know what their schedule is.
Well, all right. I got it right here.
Okay.
In order.
Rams, Miami.
That's in Australia, though. Yeah. So they one of their home games is in Australia. V Rams, V Dolphins, V Cardinals, V Broncos.
They could be 2-2. There could be 2-3 after the first 5 games. They're going to beat Miami and Arizona. They'll lose to Denver, Seattle, and the Rams. So they're 2-3 coming out of the gates, Duke.
Okay, but then V Commanders, probably a win at Falcons. We don't really know yet what the Stefanski version of the Falcons is going to look like. V Raiders, they're going to be a lot better this year.
They're going to lose 4 to their last 5 games, Duke. They're going to lose to the Rams again. They'll lose to the Chargers. They'll lose to the Chiefs, Philly, and then they'll beat Arizona.
Okay.
Oh, I don't see this ending well for MTR.
That's already a lot of losses.
I know it is.
Chalked up there, and we're kind of leaving out the middle of the schedule where there's
Seattle
another Seahawks game, Cowboys, Vikings. Maybe if Kyler Murray's playing quarterback, who knows?
Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, this could be a long season for old MTR.
It's possible. It's very possible.
Sean says the Niners are the 3rd best team in their division.
I don't think that's an outlandish statement. The Seahawks are the defending Super Bowl champions. They were unstoppable in the playoffs last year.
I love this text from Sean. Love it. Pat C, when he texted in about Marty Reisner, that he got into a fight with a tougher guy. The only guy I can think of is Derek Morris. Marty wasn't a crazy fighter for sure. But Derek Morris, probably the toughest guy that he fought when I went through the list. I'm not sure, Patsy, if that's correct or not. MTR, very quiet, Duke. Very quiet. I'm looking forward to game number 1 here of the Stanley Cup final tonight.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I'm giddy for it. And I've, had a real soft spot for this Carolina team kind of in the entirety of the Rod Brind'Amour era. I've picked them a couple times to get to the final or even win, and they've kind of come up short, obviously, in semi-spectacular fashion at different moments in conference finals losses to Florida and Boston back in 2019. But this is it, and we've heard several different people say it. I think Speck, Frank, and Landon all kind of resonated the same sentiment of it feels like it's their time. And I don't expect it to be easy. Vegas has earned the right to be here with some of the teams that they've dispatched en route. But, man, I think it is going to be tight, maybe not the highest scoring. And for some hockey fans, maybe that's not what they want to see, where it isn't super action-packed all the time. But I do expect it still to be played with a ton of pace, physical. And I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to the series very much.
One thing that need to mention, and this just came out about 15 minutes ago. Vegas head coach John Tortorella says Jeremy Lauzon returns for Game 1. I know this is a minor little piece that people think, but he's going to make a difference tonight. If he's missed several weeks. He's only played 6 playoff games this year, so he'll go into that third pairing on defense. I asked Duke who's coming out. Would it be Gorzak or Dylan Coughlin? I mean, that would remain to be seen, I guess. I don't know if he's a left shot was on, so I don't know if that matters with the two guys that have the possibility of coming out on the back end. And again, that is Dylan Coughlin or Caden Gorzak. I guess might be leaning towards Coughlin. There's a story right there. And we talked about it how many times he played, hasn't scored in 5 years. Scores a massive goal in the playoffs for them. MTR says, I didn't hear your response. Well, pay attention, MTR. There's a quiz later. Coming up at the top of the hour, it is Fantasy Frenzy with
the former Rochep T-Bird,
Connor Helly and the Duke of Delburne. At 12 o'clock, it's the Lowdown with Ellen Mitchell. 2 to 6, Jason Greger drives us home with the Jason Greger Show. We'll pick up Blue Jays baseball in probably the third inning or so. The first pitch for the Jays in Atlanta is 5:15. So that'll be right after 6 o'clock right here on Sports 1440 AM radio. After the game, Fox Sports All Night. We're back with you tomorrow morning at 7 bells with our co-host, David Schlemko. Before all of that, time now for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by All-Star Construction. They shape and build Edmonton communities and underground utilities like power, gas, telecommunications, and street lighting. That's All-Star Construction. Hey, thanks everyone for listening. Really appreciate all the texts and all the great interaction. We could not do it without you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7 bells. Until then, here is the Duke.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game 1 of this year's Stanley Cup Finals getting underway tonight from Raleigh, North Carolina, with the Hurricanes taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. Carolina back to the final for the first time since winning the Cup in 2006. Vegas back after winning the Cup in 2023. Lineup note, Jeremy Lauzon expected to draw back into Vegas's defense core. Speaking of defense, this year's Norris Trophy for the league's top defenseman has been handed out, and it is Columbus's Zach Werenski taking home the award for the first time as the greatest all-round ability for a defender in the league. Oilers' Evan Bouchard ended up finishing 4th in the voting behind the likes of Cale Makar in 2nd and Rasmus Dahlin in 3rd. In the majors today, full slate of games, including the Blue Jays opening a set in Atlanta against the Braves. Kevin Gausman on the bump for Toronto. Bryce Elder countering for Atlanta. First pitch scheduled for 5:15. You can catch that game right here on Sports 1440, joined in progress at the conclusion of the Jason Greger Show. Elsewhere, Detroit is in Tampa Bay. Baltimore taking on Boston. The Yankees host Cleveland in the Bronx. Athletics in Chicago against the Cubbies. Dodgers take on the D-backs. And Seattle continues their set hosting the New York Mets. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is Fantasy Frenzy with Hallie and Douglas. I'm Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.